Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah.
All right, we're running the triangle offense today on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Just three of us.
There it is.
What's up, fellas?
Hey, what's good, man? I come right on in, and I get right to the smoke.
Let's go.
The fact is, hey, I didn't know you could buy lottery tickets on the app.
Oh, absolutely.
I had no idea. We just learned that from
absolutely.
Tyvis.
You know
Cool.
what? This the new world. You know, it's because you guys are of age. I'm gonna put you on to something. If you are one of those people that's like, I can't go to the store to buy the lotto ticket because it's up to 1.2 billion tonight for the Powerball, you could get this app called, what is it called? The Jackpot app.
Yeah.
Jackpot
Buy
app
it then,
on the
man.
phone. You order your ticket on there, and later on they send you the actual ticket in the email or through the app, and it's just like you got your ticket, so you could do it right from your phone.
That's right.
1.2 billion. Don't miss out on the
I think if you
opportunity.
take it all after taxes, I believe you get 250 million. If you take
Is
it
that it?
No,
It's way more than
It
that.
gotta be more than that.
Way
all? No,
gotta-
because I think it's 500 million if you take it all at once,
Okay.
and then you lose half for taxes.
But I thought.
No.
It gotta-
Does it matter?
Yes, it does.
It does.
Because I feel like I'm gonna win.
Your family set for generations with 250 million.
If you won, would you take the lump sum or would you take the payment?
Damn right I take the lump sum.
Oh, you always take the lump sum, Tyvis. They've done all the math and calculations.
I
You
guess if
always
I
take
were
the lump
young,
sum.
If I hit it, I should just
but
take
like,
the lump.
what if you die next year? Do you still get the money? Does his wife get it? Do his
that's
kids
a good-
get it?
That's
What
actually
happens?
a really good question.
I don't know the answer to that, but I have read multiple studies on what you do if you win the lottery. You always
I
take
would
the
take
lump
it.
sum.
I'm taking
You
the lump
deal with
sum.
the taxes later, but you take the lump sum, then you invest half of what you get, and hopefully
then-
that turns
that's
into
right.
a lot more money.
G, you taking the lump sum?
Man, that's easy money. Lump sum, I'm taking all of it.
Yeah.
And what I'm gonna do eventually, I would get everybody I know in the room, and it would be different. I would just get them in the room and be like, all right, I have a lawyer there,
Yeah.
and I got a list of people. Here's
Here's what you're
cousin,
getting.
here's like all the people I know.
Yeah.
I got co-workers, friends, family members,
Yeah.
down to the.
They all getting the same amount?
And then they got a side agreement they can never ask you for any more.
So basically, and I'm
For sure.
and I'm reporting it as a tax write-off too. so some of them is gonna be getting paid to go to school. So it's charities. Some of them gonna get me paid because they're on a lower income. So basically, I'm gonna go up. They sign off when they check, and there'll be an accountant there posted up, and then after that, I'm good.
You gonna get your parents like a new house, or do they love their house and don't want to move?
Oh, come on. My mom thinks she gonna move with me when I get my first house.
You gotta buy your parents a new house.
So parents would get
And
a house.
more.
But I would probably, here's the thing, I would even give coworkers money. Like, I'd be like, all right, look, if I got $200 million to spend, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you gave people
That's too much
$3
money,
million.
man.
That's a lot, though. $3 million?
You know what the sad
You gotta be
thing
pretty
is?
tight with somebody giving $3 million.
No, you don't.
That's very generous.
like, no, you
I ain't
don't.
giving people $3 million.
Like, here's the thing. Okay, this is crazy. If everybody in here, there's like 8 of us, right?
Yeah. If any of us win, we give everybody else.
If I gave everybody in here $1 million,
Yeah.
that's life changing.
It is.
You $1 million. I just made you a millionaire.
millionaire, yeah.
So look. When I come back, y'all gonna be like, I'm good. I don't have no problems.
And
with
then
you.
we could all do the show and say whatever we want because, okay, fire me. I'll do it on my own. You know what I mean?
Everybody.
You definitely would do things with a different mindset for sure.
It's the thing about saying, like, you can actually literally say, look, everybody I know is rich, and it's an investment. If you get $1 million and you flip it and do something else, maybe you might cut me in on the business, right? See what I'm saying? I'm investing, because look, I might fall off. No, I won't fall off, but I'm just saying, I gave you an opportunity, so at the end of the day, everybody's rich.
We've learned G. Bush is very generous.
I don't even need, I think if I hit the lottery,
Yeah.
all the thing I think I need is like $2 million.
Well, wait a second. 5 minutes ago, you're complaining that it was only $250 million.
Yeah,
but I only need $2
Well, I
million.
mean, it's the difference to know that I got all my money.
I'd be very happy with $2 million.
$2 million. I think I take care of everything I want to.
Exactly.
Be good.
By the way, how come we can do everything on our phones and online except vote? Why can't we vote online?
Because they don't know that it's you voting.
Baloney.
They can find.
Give me a break.
Or I don't understand. With elections coming up, you should have to opt out of registering.
Everybody, yes.
I agree.
When you turn 18, you should automatically be registered to vote.
You have to then go through hoops to say, no, I don't want to do this anymore.
And it should be a national holiday, and everybody should have to vote. You know, in Brazil.
Isn't that next week?
Yes, it
it's
is.
6 days,
6 days
from
away,
today.
Look at that.
In Brazil, I believe everybody has to vote.
I got to make sure I vote.
And a lot of people voted in there.
Bull has made it emphatically clear that I need to vote. So
Get with it. All right, lot to get to, guys, today. We're going to talk with Loudmouth Leroy later in the show.
Oh, goodness. Here you go.
Leroy's at 11:30. And then Robert Smith's going to join us at 12, and then Dave Richard, our fantasy guru, later. We'll look ahead to the Cavs' big game. I mean, it's early in the season. I don't know if it's that big a game, but I think we're all excited.
It's big. It's big.
Anytime you go against
Darius might play tonight. He's questionable for the game, so he's been upgraded from out to questionable, right?
Correct. If they win tonight, and the reason I think it's a big game, if they win tonight, I know it's 8 games in, but it puts them in the echelon mentally that they can compete with any team in the East. They lose tonight.
But they already beat Boston on the road.
But that's what, you could do it twice in a 5-day stretch. I think it solidifies.
Boston's a proven playoff team.
Well, first of all, they already know that they can run with anybody because they beat them already, so they know that we're good. It's just I'm interested to see how Karras plays again tonight because for some odd reason against Boston is when he plays his best.
Yeah.
You think about when he was in Brooklyn, he dropped a 50-piece. It was against Boston.
And he had that 41 point. Yeah, I mean, I just don't think you can read too much into the regular season because
True.
The playoffs is a whole new ball game. But the thing for me with the Cavs is not that it proves anything. I just think they're a hell of a lot of fun to watch, so I want to watch them play.
Absolutely.
That's all it is for me, personally.
I like measuring wise. Does it mean like they're going to be game stoppers? Does it mean that they're going to be some team that's just going to be a number 1 seed in the East? No, not necessarily speaking. But you can at least look at the game, watch the game, and say, look, hey, we beat a really good team on their place. We came back. We beat them again at our place. Yeah. And now that confidence kind of grows and it is fed to not just Donovan Mitchell, but the younger guys. The younger guys play a little more confidently. Yeah. And you look at the rest of the league. Lakers are playing terrible. Golden State is playing terrible. The Nets are definitely playing terrible.
F the Nets.
They done got people fired already.
Wait, you know who not playing terrible?
Who's that?
He's going to say Giannis. Just get it out there.
Yes, go ahead.
Giannis.
All
right,
He's the best player in the league.
We
the Bucks
love
are the best
Giannis.
team in the league.
We'll get back to basketball later, guys. And Tyvis wasn't here yesterday, so we'll get his thoughts on the Browns' win over the Bengals. But obviously yesterday was the trade deadline. It was on fire. There were a lot of things going on yesterday. Yeah. Browns didn't do anything. Let's see what Andrew Berry had to say. He met with the media guys, and he talked about why they didn't do anything ultimately. From Mary Kay Cabot, Andrew Berry acknowledged the victory over the Bengals, blah, blah, blah. Had a mild impact on their approach to the deadline. They likely hung on to a few guys like Greedy Williams for good depth. We talked about it last week, and here we go. Says he came close to acquiring a player at the deadline, but the compensation package didn't work out. He credited Kareem Hunt with how he handled the past few months. Expects a strong second half, and then he went on to say that, this has nothing to do with that. Okay.
This is a different one, but yes, from Andrew Berry.
Said Deshaun Watson will start the first game. He's eligible December 4th. I don't know why. Would anybody think anything different?
No.
Not at all.
He got 2 questions about it in the press conference. They asked him. Yeah.
They got to cut it.
He was
Somebody
adamant
really
about.
Cut it out.
I guess you can ask the question. That would be insane to start Jacoby Brissett over Deshaun Watson. But,
he also said, by the way, the one that didn't come up was they did receive a ton of calls on Kareem Hunt. They didn't get the compensation they wanted in return, so they
now,
decided
do
to
we
hold
know
on
for
to
sure
him.
that he said it, or is Mary Kay is that from her sources that she's heard that?
She was live tweeting the press conference. It was in the stream of
all right, because she's the most connected Browns reporter.
Yeah.
And really, and Jason too, although Jason's not technically a Browns reporter. They're the 2 most connected, so I was curious if that was just information she had heard. But he said it there, guys, and we talked about it before the Browns played the Bengals. I think we all kind of thought, hey, if they lose, they're more likely to sell guys. Yeah. If they win, you're still, even though it's not, the Browns don't have great odds of making the playoffs, at least it's, you could see the light of it, where you couldn't at 2-6. So, and Andrew Berry, it was interesting that he admitted that did play at least somewhat of a role.
You know what I thought? And it just hit me. You know why I think a strong point why they kept Kareem is because, you go through the season, Nick Chubb can get hurt and everybody be more comfortable if Kareem is in there. Kareem played well. But another thought was Baltimore just acquired Roquan Smith. So them linebackers just got really good. They got 2 guys that they're activating off of IR this week, Ojabo and another guy.
Yeah.
So they're going to be really athletic at the linebacker position. You have to be able to offset that. And if you can put the double backfield with him and with Nick Chubb and Kareem out there, that gives that linebacker group problems. And at this point, you got to find out mismatches and find ways to win games. And Kareem Hunt will be an X factor if they decide to go that route. So I think they looked forward. You got Deshaun Watson for the rest of your division games. You'll have Deshaun Watson for the rest of those. And now if you got Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb in the backfield together with Deshaun Watson, man, that's scary.
I love the fact that he came out and publicly said that. He came out and said, hey, I commend him for doing what he's done. He did a great job while he was he was on the trade block because it was public news.
Sure.
It was public notice. And so a lot of times.
And he kind of made it public news because he said he wanted to be traded before the year.
Sure
and a lot of times what will happen is fans will say, the one thing that we always jump on is, oh, you didn't want to be here. He didn't want to be here. Especially here. They're super sensitive about whether or not you better say you love it here. You like Christmas ale. You used to root for the Yankees because you grew up there, but now you're a Guardians fan. We be having all kind of hoops people
You
jump
have to have
through.
eaten dog biscuits at Browns.
You gotta be Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah,
he's excelling right now.
He's all in.
This man's agent is king right now.
But maybe people didn't get as mad as Kareem because he's from here. So maybe that was it.
Well,
but it's not that he doesn't want to be in Cleveland. It's he wants to be a starter, which I think we all understand.
He wants to be a starter. He's 28 and he wants to get paid.
Of course.
Your running back life is only a certain amount of time. You only got maybe 2 times to hit the bag, and he's deserved it.
He
right,
missed
but
the
he's
first
not.
time.
He's not. Running backs are not getting big money anymore.
No, but
Like
you got
Nick
at least
Chubb, the money that Nick Chubb got is the new standard. Nobody's like the Ezekiel Elliott contract. That's a disaster for Dallas. I know he's your boy.
Whoa,
dude.
whoa.
He signed 6 years, $90 million. Nobody.
That was rough.
And he's at this point, he's a middle of the road back.
At this point, Pollard, oh goodness,
Is more
Listen, we're not doing this. Dude, we're not doing
Pollard
this.
is more explosive.
Pollard is
Pollard got less miles on his body.
That's the point.
We're not debating that, but he's more explosive.
For somebody, listen, if Pollard does it against somebody other than Chicago, if he goes against a great defense and does that,
I mean,
then
Chicago just shut down New England the week before. Their running game's been great.
Hey,
They don't have a great running back.
Ramondre Stevenson's been phenomenal.
So he's great.
I'm not saying he's great. I'm saying he's been phenomenal.
That's
this
not
year.
the point. We talking about Kareem Hunt. Y'all, I like how y'all trying to slide this in.
No, but the point is, yes, he is trying to get paid.
Yes.
And yes, nobody's getting that Zeke contract again as a running back, I don't think. Even like a McCaffrey, that type of, like,
even a McCaffrey deal, if you look at it.
It's not.
Is that worth it? Like, the Panthers, you think about it, the Panthers traded him, and they gave him that big-time deal.
Yeah.
For what he gave them production-wise,
because he's been hurt until this
it wasn't
year.
worth it.
Do you think that? I think Kareem actually would be better when Deshaun's back.
Oh, he'll be
100%. Won't everybody on the offense be better?
But I think like he would benefit a lot. Because of the fact that Deshaun can extend plays and he'll have a guy that he can dump it out to, and he'll be kind of wide open.
Tyvis, that's why I get it. He's 28.
Yeah.
He has he's a person that is behind Nick Chubb, who's the best back in the league.
Yeah.
But exactly what you were saying, when he gets here and you got Deshaun Watson, now that's going to open up some other different things. And I know you don't want to pay 2 running backs and you don't pay a running back that's 28, but I'm going to tell you what, if they get him in a position and they using him like they used him last week with Deshaun Watson and RPOs and screen game, you could actually make Kareem Hunt, if you made a position for him where he's almost your second tight end, he's almost your first fullback, he's also your third down back if you put him in with Nick Chubb. That's a lot of dynamic playmakers, but I don't know if they'll do that.
But yeah, I mean, we saw it a little this week. We've seen it a little in Carolina and some other games. But I think I do believe that ultimately, if somebody had made them a good enough offer, they would have traded Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, for sure.
If they had gotten a Christian McCaffrey type offer, and I think Kareem Hunt, while he's approaching 28, or I think, did he just turn 28?
I don't know if he is.
I think he's about to
be 28.
I think he's the same type of player as Christian McCaffrey. He's right. He's got a similar skill set.
Yeah.
I think he's being actually undervalued because he's been a backup here for a couple of years.
Yep.
And people, and like, he's not really a backup running back. He's just because Nick Chubb's the best.
Yeah.
And by the way, before I was saying everybody's going to be better with Deshaun Watson, except for maybe Nick Chubb, because I don't know if Nick Chubb can be any. I mean, can he be better?
No.
I mean, I don't know
But
that he can play any better.
it does open up a little bit more. It will open up a lot. If you're running RPOs, that could scare a lot. But I thought of a play just now. Think about this, G.
You're like, okay,
I'm thinking I'm from a defensive mindset. Okay, say they come out 11 personnel, running back, 1 tight end, but you put Kareem as the slot guy. You run the quarterback read with Nick Chubb with Kareem in the slot, right? Pull it. Run towards Kareem as he bubbles out. Now, if you in cover 3 or if you in man, you got to respect Kareem going out. So either Deshaun Watson can run it, but when people see quarterbacks run, they drop what they doing.
Yep.
So Deshaun Watson approaches the line, they pick up on him, boom, throw it out to Kareem. That is a nasty play.
That's what the Eagles have been doing.
That's
nasty.
nasty.
Long. It's
That's
exactly what
nasty.
Jalen Hurts
That's
and the Eagles' offense has been doing to attack.
Yeah, Jalen.
That's hard to stop.
That's
I
a
can't lie.
I know it's a little awful we were discussing, but you brought it up. How good has Jalen Hurts been, by the way?
Listen,
Yeah, he doing his thing, man.
This
They
guy
did
is-
it right.
I thought I was like not sold on Jalen Hurts at all.
I wasn't. I was,
What?
but I wasn't.
Man.
Not like this.
Not
He's
like this.
Playing at a
Not like
pro
this.
level.
he's different, man. Like I didn't think he was going to be anything coming out of Alabama, especially when Tua got his minutes. So when Tua came,
Right.
I was like, okay, well, he might be a scat back. He might have to move the offense because I didn't even see the arm. But then he went to that 1 year at Oklahoma,
And he did his thing.
and he was killing. I was like, okay.
And A.J. Brown doesn't hurt.
Vital.
He's a stud.
By the way, I'm confused. Tennessee. What are you doing?
The only problem with Brown is he had some injury problems in the past, but when this guy's on the field, he's one of the best backs in the league. Best wide receiver.
G. Bush, it's the whole trend in the NFL, though. I mean, the Packers traded Devontae Adams, and they have no one at receiver. The Chiefs got rid of Tyreek Hill. Titans got rid of A.J. Brown. They just think they can draft these receivers and pay them.
Well,
cost.
that's because Justin
And
Jefferson.
I disagree with the philosophy, but
I
that's
do
the
too.
trend in
Justin
the NFL.
Jefferson, Jamar Chase, they came in and just made instant
Huge
impact. So
impacts.
that
Right.
was like the
Yeah,
thing.
but I think that's more the exception
But
than
that's
the rule.
But people, it's like
Yeah,
when it's
prisoner of the moment.
it was like when Richard Sherman became the top corner in the league.
Right.
Everybody wanted the 6'3"
Yeah,
corner.
yeah,
It's like
that's
true.
it's just the new thing to do.
But the thing is, you look, the Titans are still playing well even without A.J. Brown, right? Somehow.
Well, they running the
They ain't
ball.
going to do anything in the playoffs.
They was gonna run
but
the ball.
so's Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Chiefs are still good without Tyreek Hill, but so's Miami with him.
Yep.
And in the Devontae Adams case, the Packers are worse without him, but the Raiders suck with him. So it's,
I never, maybe somebody could tell me, I never understood the Devontae Adams move. I never got it.
he wouldn't sign a long-term extension.
So
they didn't. He was unhappy. He wanted a new extension, which I get it. He's one of the best wide receivers in the league. But supposedly they offered him a deal. He didn't accept it. It wasn't enough. And so that's why they ultimately did it.
Well, listen, I'll tell you what, these receivers really add so many dimensions to your offense.
Yeah,
like
they
if
do.
you got that's why even when we look at the Cleveland Browns bringing it back to the Browns, even when you got guys like Amari Cooper,
Who went for a 5th round pick?
What a great trade by
I can't believe it.
I mean, this guy.
Oh my!
It's the trade of the offseason.
The Bears gave up a 2nd-round pick for Chase Claypool, who's, in my opinion, just an average wide receiver.
He's
He's not bad, but he's not great.
Andrew Berry should be investigated,
Bro.
for robbery.
I
I get it.
Oh my
I get it
God.
that Amari Cooper is getting paid a lot more than Chase Claypool, but Amari Cooper's contract is basically a year-to-year deal. They can get out of it after any year if they wanted to.
Hey.
So it's not that much. But Amari Cooper's so much better than Chase Claypool.
And I'm gonna say this, man. I'm a OBJ guy.
Yeah.
But this is
more effective.
This the production.
He's more reliable.
This is the guy we thought we was getting when we got Odell Beckham Jr. You saw the deep ball. You see how he catches the football. You see how he. By the way, his routes. Tyvis, maybe you can speak to that.
I've been saying it.
Yeah, you have been.
I've been saying
The way
it.
he's breaking boys off.
I'm telling you.
He breaking dudes off on like. He's getting dudes in a phone booth.
Listen.
Like it's 5 yards. He giving them crazy shoulder width. His foot. Even the way he lines up in his stance.
Did you notice? Because when I was at the game, I was watching this very closely. Did you know that Chidobe Awuzie,
who's gone for the year,
was the one checking Amari no matter what?
Yeah.
Because if you put that rookie on Amari, he going for 500 yards.
Yeah, right.
So
Right.
And Cheeto obviously played with Amari in Dallas, so he got to go against him all the time. But it didn't matter, man. Amari is, if you've never seen it, I keep saying, if a corner's never went against Amari, like it's scary to see. You'd be like, whoa.
I would still argue that, as critical at times as I've been of Odell, at his best, he's better than Amari Cooper. But how often is he at his best these days?
At his best, he's one of the best athletes to ever play
No
this
doubt.
game.
At his best.
But you have to utilize him correctly, and for some odd reason, this offense just wasn't for him.
And Amari Cooper, like, again, maybe some of it's unfair. Amari Cooper never has a bad attitude that I've ever known of.
Never.
Odell sometimes does.
He's a
I won't
receiver.
say Amari don't have a bad attitude.
It's the fact that he's smart enough not to say it.
Exactly.
Fair enough.
He's not going to ever
he
come
keeps it
out
under
and
his
say
hat.
it.
Right, demonstrated. Odell's like, no. I was open on that play.
You right.
You know how many times Amari Cooper been open during the season and he ain't said nothing?
You watch
Mikey McNuggets.
Got a question for you
You're
guys.
wearing glasses today. What's with the glasses?
I said
Yeah, my contacts didn't want to cooperate. I got new glasses a couple weeks ago. My mom's been telling me to wear them.
You look like
you look
like
sharp.
Clark
Lucas,
Kent.
thank you.
Are you rooting for Northwestern this week?
I
Is that
see
why
you
This is
you're-
Northeastern.
I thought it's
Northeastern. My brother went to college.
Yeah.
Okay.
But question for you guys. So the Browns' next game after the bye is Miami.
Yeah.
And we're looking at that 3-game stretch: Miami, Buffalo, Tampa Bay.
Right.
Knowing Cleveland needs to win 2 of those games. Miami made a major move yesterday, 2 really, acquiring Bradley Chubb. Let's take the tag board here, but they got Bradley Chubb from the Broncos for a first-round pick. They also got Jeff Wilson from San Francisco. Do those moves change your prediction? I know we're 10 days out, but does that adding an elite pass rush like that change how you feel about
Is
that
he an
Miami
elite
game?
pass rusher?
He can't. At his best, he was. I mean, he was him and Von Miller was
He's
something.
been hurt a
nasty.
lot.
But he has been
I
hurt.
mean,
if he's a healthy guy,
I look at him as a really good player, but I don't think of him as like Myles Garrett or those guys.
He can be effective in the game.
I actually, at the time of the draft, wanted the Browns to take him instead of Denzel Ward.
Yeah, a lot of people
I did too.
A lot of people did.
Well, and this is ironic.
They're both good, and they're both really good players,
and-
even though Denzel's not having a great year.
And he just so happens to be Nick Chubb's cousin.
Yeah, is he?
Yeah,
Is he
for real.
really?
How I didn't realize
I didn't
that.
know that either.
Yes, he and Nick Chubb are cousins. And it's crazy because Nick Chubb is so silent. He's never spoken about it. He's just like, oh, yeah, it's just.
I can confirm. G. Bush is right.
Yeah.
Bradley is the younger cousin of Nick Chubb.
Yep.
It's a fact.
That's a lot of talent in that family.
It is.
Where were their parents? Like, neither one of their parents played sports?
I don't know. They're monsters.
How do you have that talented, two ridiculously talented kids?
monsters? Like,
How about your Bradley Chubb? Like, you're really good. You're an excellent NFL player, and you're, like, successful. You were top
No,
5
their
pick.
dad was an NFL player.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so here's
who's
the
that?
here's the Wikipedia
Go ahead.
family life of the Chubbs.
The Chubbs.
This
Sounds
is
so
quote
funny.
from Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Chubb's brother, Brandon Chubb, played college football
Whoa,
at Wake
which
Forest.
Chubb's brother?
This is Bradley Chubb.
Okay.
Bradley Chubb's brother.
Bradley Chubb's brother.
Brandon.
And Nick Chubb's brother played football at Air Force. Or
Okay.
went into Air
I
Force.
think I
But
knew that.
So
But
they
go
are-
ahead.
Bradley Chubb's brother, Brandon Chubb,
Yeah.
played college football at Wake Forest, signed as an undrafted free agent with the Los Angeles Rams in 2016. Their father, Aaron Chubb, was a late-round draft pick of the Patriots in 1989. Bradley Chubb is the younger cousin of Nick Chubb, who played for the Georgia Bulldogs and was drafted by the Cleveland Browns 30 picks after Bradley was drafted with the 35th overall pick in the second round of the 2018 NFL Draft.
All right, but Nick Chubb's dad didn't play, as far as we know.
I'm looking at it now.
But that's
yes.
Obviously a
But
very talented
that's-
family,
that-
right?
that's-
Anyway, yeah.
that's a lot of. That's like the math.
But like my point was that Bradley Chubb, you're like this excellent football player, you had great college success, drafted high, and you're not even the best player in the family.
No, that's
His
crazy.
father. Okay, we got Nick Chubb's update. You ready?
Yeah.
This is the Chubb family tree here.
Yeah, I like it. I like you saying the word Chubb.
This
over
is
and
what
over.
we call. This is what we call an iceberg on the internet.
Yeah, this is the rabbit hole you fall down.
Yeah.
Okay, Nick Chubb's older brother, Henry, played cornerback at Troy University.
Okay.
His other brother, Zach, played defensive back at Air Force. His father played at Valdosta State. And his uncle Aaron was a linebacker for Georgia.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he hit the lot.
That's just good genetics there.
Yeah,
It's a good athletic family.
Yeah.
His
That
mom probably played like some other
she
sport.
She probably played volleyball. She's 6'1".
Track star or something like that. But the way I think this Bradley Chubb thing does, it has a little bit of an impact. You know, he'll still have to learn the playbook and stuff like that.
Right.
So it won't be an immediate. But at the end of the day, he's a pass rusher. And he's going to be on the side probably of Jedrick Wills, who hasn't been doing great. I mean, he has times where he looks bad. So he'll probably win a couple of those. I think you have to slide the protection that way a little bit. So I think that in that aspect, when it comes to protection,
it makes them better.
Right.
But if you were going to pick, like, we're a long way from the game, but like, if I was going to pick the Browns to win, I'm not going to now. Oh well, they got Bradley Chubb.
No, heck no. He ain't that type of guy.
Could he end up making a difference in the game? Sure.
Absolutely.
He makes a big play, forces a turnover, and could make the difference.
They said that Denver has, and for the past couple of years, a trade from Denver has ultimately led teams to go to the Super Bowl.
Right.
You think
Von
of
Miller.
Emmanuel Sanders went to 49ers, they went to the Super Bowl.
Right.
Von Miller last year goes to the Rams, they go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Could Bradley Chubb be that guy for?
Well, you know, when you talk about Chubb and being a defensive end, the thing that you hate as a defensive end is a team that's balanced. Right. Like it's a running game and play action slows down all pass rush guys because you have to play the run. I can't be up there on 2nd and 3 being like, oh, I'm guessing.
Glad you brought that up because it leads me to a point about the game on Monday.
Yeah, let's get to that. We didn't get your take
I think
on it.
it's one of those things that you see they opted to sit Perrion and have another Isaac Rochelle came in as the guy to be in the game that week. And they went with 4 pass rushers a lot of the times on that. And it's easy when you're going against a team that can't run the ball that well because you know they're passing it. And if you got some of the best pass rushers with your Davion Miles, and now you add in Alex and you add in Isaiah Thomas, who actually made a sack, then it's easier for those guys. If you think about the best teams in the league, you think about Miami, you think about Buffalo, you think about Tampa Bay, which happen to be the next couple of games coming up. They are heavy pass teams.
Yep.
So that gives us
Kansas City too.
It gives us actually a good shot if they run in those 4 guys in there, especially if they can handle being that defensive tackle. It gives us a good shot to be in the game because pass rush changes an entire game, and I think that's what we seen there from this last game.
And the interesting thing is the other great running back, right? You know, you think of in the AFC, Derrick Henry. Well, their team's one-dimensional the other way.
Right.
Yep.
Because they can't throw the ball.
Yeah, you got to be beat.
Who's there? Can you name a wide receiver on the Titans?
Robert Woods.
Robert Woods, right.
Woods.
But he's been awful. He hasn't played. He hasn't done anything. I think he's like washed up. They got Treylon Burks, who they drafted.
He's
in the
hurt, I
draft,
think.
but he's been hurt. He hasn't played.
They ain't nobody.
Is Leroy? You said Leroy's up?
We got Leroy, and nobody knows how effective Bradley Chubb could be on the Dolphins than the man who lives in Miami himself, the one and only Leroy Hoard.
Leroy, the Dolphins are 5-0 in the games Tua plays start to finish. Are you all in on Tua, by the way, heading into this matchup next week before we get back to the Browns?
I've always been.
Okay.
Here's the deal. There's a couple of things that you don't just lose, okay? How can a guy who had exceptional arm strength, very accurate, all of a sudden get into the league and nobody ever, his arm is shot, he can't do this. You don't just lose those things that quick in the NFL. A lot of it has to do with he was thrust into action and he wasn't strong enough yet. He had just gotten off a hip. Then he got hurt again because he had no protection.
Yep.
The coach didn't have any faith in him, which is ironic because I think Brian Flores is a hell of a coach. My biggest pet peeve with him was this. How you going to be a second-year coach and trash a young player when you in the same damn spot he in?
Yep.
You see? And I always had a problem with that. I always have a problem when these teams draft players. That player didn't ask to come here. It's your job to make it work. You brought him here.
Yep.
So why wouldn't you give him the ultimate support the ultimate support just to see if it's going to work because you selected him. We give up on players way too quick without understanding. Like, first of all, coaches going to make mistakes too. Like, it's one thing to be sitting next to the head coach and say what you would do. It's another thing to have them 30 seconds to make game decisions on your own. And some coaches stumble through that for a while. So I'm always a little, lenient on those things because I understand how difficult that is. You don't know how many times we go into a huddle and we got to look over to the sideline with 15 seconds left and wonder what the play is because the coach still trying to figure out what play to call. They all do it. It happens all the time.
By the way, guys, that now that Tua's looking like the real deal this year, that 2020 draft in terms of quarterbacks, Burrow, Herbert, Tua, I mean, my gosh.
That do look good. I didn't even think about it like that.
Sir.
You think all the talk was about the, Baker's class, which was what, 18? 18, yeah.
And then last year's class with 5 quarterbacks in the first round.
But
and
last year's class looks like trash. The 18 class obviously has Lamar.
Who class had 5?
Trevor Lawrence, Mac Jones, Zach Wilson. I mean, Justin Fields is looking better, but he's not, blowing the world.
None of those guys look particularly good.
Who was the last
No, they're
one?
all. There's 5. There's 5 in the first round.
I can't remember.
Trey Lance.
And Trey Lance.
Trey
and none of them look particularly great. The 18 class,
was this
obviously.
last year? Wasn't it Malik Willis?
No, that was 2
No, he's
years.
this year.
No, Malik Willis was this year.
Oh, yeah, this year, yeah.
Yeah, but the 2018 class right now looks, well, not right now. It's over.
Josh Allen.
It's Lamar and Josh Allen.
Yeah.
It was 5, but only 2 of them panned out.
Yeah.
The other 3 suck.
And think about here's what you need to understand. Going into that draft, the nonsense that was talked about Lamar Jackson, who since has an MVP, and if not for his team, would have more success. Right? Because they almost put him in positions not to win, but to see if he can do it. Right? That's what they do. They put him in these difficult situations. It's almost like they're testing him to see if he can do it. And he always comes through. If not for Lamar Jackson, that team would be terrible.
I agree. Yeah.
And for some reason, there is no bigger case study than to show what warrants getting big money than Lamar Jackson. Because without Lamar Jackson, Baltimore is garbage.
I don't disagree.
I'll just tell you.
Leroy, do you think if he had an agent, he'd be signed already?
No.
No.
You don't think so?
No.
I think
because
I think his agent would have did him a disservice.
You think so?
Yeah, because they would have been like, Russell's getting this, and who else signed the deal this offseason? Kyler Murray.
Deshaun Watson.
right.
So I mean, you got to look at it. If you look at Deshaun Watson, who he hasn't won an MVP.
I think Deshaun's better than Lamar Jackson, personally. I mean, I know he hasn't played in a while.
That's
But-
fine, but he got
here's what I would say about that.
MVP
that
speaks.
means
I hear you. But he hasn't.
But here,
I love
bull.
Lamar, but he hasn't played at an MVP level since that
Bull.
season. He's been
Bull.
good, but he hasn't
Bull.
played like an MVP. I don't think.
Here's what you have to understand.
Yeah.
Okay? We always like to take quarterbacks and put them in different situations to see how they would compare to the quarterback you have. Right? And I know this for a fact. Or I don't know it for a fact, but I could probably take Lamar Jackson and put him in Deshaun Watson's situation and he'd be successful.
Yep.
But I don't know if I can put Deshaun Watson in Lamar Jackson's circumstances and he'd be just as effective.
But Leroy, Lamar's not as good a passer as Deshaun, though.
But again, you're taking a portion of the game. I give you another perfect example.
Yeah.
You know, everybody got offended when Tyreek Hill said Tua's one of the most accurate quarterbacks or the most accurate quarterback I ever played with.
That was a fact.
Everybody thought that was a knock on Patrick Mahomes. But you can excel at a certain skill. It doesn't make you a better player. And that's what we need to lose. We need to lose that thought. So you're going to take and say Lamar Jackson can't run, can't throw as well as Deshaun Watson.
Right.
is it safe for me to say Deshaun Watson can't run like Lamar Jackson? So how does that work out?
I agree with you, and I like Lamar, and I would pay him if I were Baltimore. But if you ask me if I'm starting a team, if I had to choose between the two, I'm not saying it's like by miles, but I would choose. Well, take the off the field stuff out of it. If it's just about on the field.
We're talking about football players.
As a football player, I would take Deshaun Watson over Lamar. How about you guys?
My vote doesn't count, but I'm with Bull. I would take Watson over Lamar.
I probably would take him. I would probably take Deshaun Watson, but to me, it's a toss-up. It's a preference thing.
I think it is a preference thing too.
Here's what we're trying to do.
Yeah,
we're trying to take two different skill sets and compare them.
That's true.
And it becomes difficult.
Tricky. Yeah,
it's tricky because there's no real way of doing it other than saying this. Lamar Jackson might not be as good of a thrower as Deshaun Watson, but we all know Deshaun Watson is not as dynamic outside the pocket as Lamar Jackson. So how do you compare those two things?
It's hard.
You compare these two things like this. Here's how you compare. We all make the assumption that the quarterback that's great outside of the pocket can't do that forever. Whereas the pure passer can do it for a longer period of time. What happens when Deshaun Watson loses his athletic ability? Right? You don't ever have to worry about that with Deshaun Watson. Not that, he's not an athletic person.
Yeah.
But that's not the number one aspect of his game.
Right. One thing I would say, Leroy, the one thing I would say to back you up on this, in terms of Lamar, and I'll admit that I've watched a ton of Lamar because in my Keeper League fantasy team, I had him 4 years in a row. So I was watching him all the time. He helped me win 2 championships in 4 years, baby. So I watch Lamar all the time. And what Lamar does better than the running quarterbacks that came before him, in my opinion, is he almost all the time, obviously it's going to happen sometimes, he avoids the big hit, I think, more than any running quarterback we've ever seen. He'll get out of bounds. He'll slide. He is extremely, I think, it seems to me, that he is extremely aware of avoiding that big hit. Do you think that's correct?
Yeah, no? I think the other thing is that he throws the ball more than those other guys.
Well, that's true too.
So
yeah, sure.
He's willing to still keep his head downfield when a lot of running quarterbacks, once they decide to run, it's over.
That's
right?
true.
So
yeah.
Now see, and this is the thing, that if you're looking at these numbers,
what were those
and
numbers
you see
from,
60,
by the way?
I don't know.
Last full season.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but that wasn't. You're taking.
You took Lamar's worst season. That's not.
Well, it was his last season he played, and Deshaun's last season he played.
Yeah.
All right. And he was hurt, right? Hence all those picks.
All right, Leroy. Let's shift gears to the Browns.
Yeah.
What is it?
Hey.
What did you take away from the game Monday?
2 things. The first thing I tweeted out after like 3 running plays. Please, Browns, don't abandon the run because you didn't have early success.
Yep.
Please. I say thank you. Have a nice day. Right? And
I gotta go
and
look
then
it
when they
up.
got in the red
I gotta
zone,
look the tweet up.
He did. I can confirm. We'll throw it on tag board. Give us 1 sec.
I said, please, let's get Nick Chubb or Kareem Hunt going downhill in the red zone. By the way, the Browns are great at putting the ball in the end zone on the ground in the red zone. People think that that's just, no. That is a skill. You got a whole bunch of people, and who's the backup center? 66.
Pochich is like, I don't know where they got this man from.
Is that 66?
The starting center who was supposed to be a backup at the beginning of the year?
No. Who was 66 they brought into the game when they went to
James Hudson.
He's going to be their starting right tackle next year.
Woo! He lit old boy up.
See,
Yeah, he
and
did.
that's dangerous.
I got
He
all
pulled
tingly.
and just
I saw
clocked
that
that
play.
guy,
I
yeah.
got all tingly. I was like,
You know where they got that
get
from?
him, big fella.
You know they got that
Get
from.
him.
You know they got
Hey.
that from San Francisco when they made Trent
Yep.
Williams do that.
They had 8
As Emmitt
offensive
Smith would
linemen on the
say-
field on that play.
As
8.
as Emmitt Smith would say, he got blowed up.
Man, look.
Dear
man.
Browns, please don't give up on the run. Thank you, Browns.
And Leroy,
Hey.
on this one, when I saw, somebody asked me the other day. They said, "How you gonna gauge whether the Browns is ready to go?" I said, "I'll know they're ready to go if Kevin Stefanski got my man Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt in the same backfield. If I know that they ready to play and they ready to do what they need to do on the ground and they committed to the run because they had them dudes in the backfield at the same time. And actually, they weren't just decoying. They was giving Kareem Hunt touches, legitimate carries. And I was just so disappointed at one time.
Hey, let me ask you this. When you saw Kareem Hunt getting that much run, did you think they was giving him that run to trade him?
Oh, yeah, I knew that was a good spot.
I said no.
I
They
said
run
no,
the
they-
price up. I said they driving this
No.
stock price up.
Hey, they just washed and waxed that old car. Got him on side, put some new rims on him. They're going to sell it tomorrow. You know what? Look, good for them. You know, like, if it didn't work out, you know, as the Browns, you got to say, hey, you think we lost by keeping Kareem Hunt? No. This makes our team better. But to your point, there's a couple of things I look at when I'm looking at the game. One is how many rushes, okay? Forget the amount of yards, because if you have the amount of rushes, that pretty much tells you the story of the game, okay? That you can still be committed at it. If you're down 2 touchdowns, you ain't going to keep running the ball. So how many rushes gives you an idea of where they are, right? The other thing is time of possession. So whenever they play a team like Cincinnati, it's going to come up again in a couple of weeks when you got to face the Dolphins. Shrink the clock on them.
Yep.
You have to. Because you know what? Think about this, guys. The one thing that Cincinnati has done a hell of a job with this year is not protecting Joe Burrow. It's getting the ball out of Joe Burrow's hands. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so while everybody says, ooh, they protect him, they're not protecting him any better. He's just getting rid of the ball and making quicker decisions. Now, when you run the ball and shrink the amount of time he has it, now he thinks he got to make chunk plays. Mm-hmm. Now he thinks he got to hold the ball a little longer. And now you're feeding into what that front seven for Cleveland does. Give us a half a second more, we going to get to you. And that's what happened, because they got a big lead. They couldn't just dink and dunk it and methodically move the ball down the field. They had to get chunk plays, and it put them in a bad spot. That's football. That's the football that Cleveland has to play successfully in order to win. And look, all you're trying to do as of right now is put wins in your pocket, right? We know this ain't what the team is going to be when Deshaun Watson gets here, although Jacoby Brissett played his best game. Mm-hmm. Right? We know. We don't know what this team is going to look like, what they going to what the coaches want to call when Deshaun Watson gets in there. But guess what? They have found a way. And remember, I told you this earlier, and everybody laughed at me. It don't matter who the quarterback is. At this point, it don't matter. Because if you win or lose games, it ain't going to be because of the quarterback. It's going to be how committed you are to the run. Because, look, Amari Cooper, I told you, he's one of the best route runners there is. And you put play action into that? I saw Jacoby slip, drop the ball, pick it up, and still throw it to open Amari Cooper.
He played great. Jacoby played great in this game.
But guess what? That's because he had room.
Yeah.
Right? When you're running the ball, and you can see, I love it. They're like little ants, right? They like little ants creeping towards the cupcake. Creeping down because Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt run. They creeping down. And then bam, now you got Amari Cooper singled up. That's football. That's complimentary football. And defensively, guess what? Ty, I tell you this. When you got that pass rush, you can jump routes.
Yeah.
Because you know it's coming out quick.
Hey, Leroy, that leads me to my next question. What did you think of them running I think they had Jadeveon sometimes at D tackle, Miles in the middle.
Wait. Hey, Bull, did we not talk about this last week?
Yep.
They say we don't have pressure up the middle. I say, so do something about it. You got two dominant pass rushers. They don't have to be outside. And then think about this. And this is how football works in every phase. If you put your guy in the same spot every time, right, and you don't move him around, and they game plan that way and beat you, it's because you didn't realize that they're going to make adjustments to what you're doing. Here's what I would do. I would take the two guys inside to block the two DNs because they haven't been getting a lot of pressure up the middle, right?
That's a dangerous
game. So you shore that up.
That's a dangerous game. They got to be able to take double teams and defeat double teams at a high rate.
No. Here, the whole point of football is to get your best players in the most favorable situations. Mm-hmm. That's it. Okay? What the hell is a fullback for? He don't need to tote the ball. He blocking for the other guy. Right?
Kyle Juszczyk catches the ball.
Technically, what are the two DNs, the two tackles for? To eat up bodies so the linebackers can make plays.
I totally
it's
agree.
not nothing new. It's not nothing new, but here's what you do. Who cares what happens to, you want to talk about the offensive line making a call? You know how y'all got that danger call? They might call a timeout if you line up Myles Garrett over the nose. It's because, Coach, we ain't practiced this.
They would have to,
right?
Leroy, they would have to.
Any change in football, people flip out.
I would put it, I love what teams do on third down. I would never give you a pre-snap read. I would never. On third down, I would have people standing up, moving around. You know which gap you got to get to based on the defense. But my whole thing is confusion. I want the center making false calls. I want the quarterback to think you coming. He going to keep a guy in. I want you to act like you're sliding this way. Oh, you don't know where we're going. We're coming off the opposite end. I want them to have to think 60 plays on their toes. And you may be able to do it once. Cool. You may be able to do it twice. But third, fourth, fifth time, somebody gonna come free, and we gonna get home.
You're making a terrible assumption that I'm not gonna make. Sometimes the D coordinator, Joe Wood, want to do all that stuff, but he 2 and 3 deep at certain positions. You want to put them guys in that situation? Because guess what? Hey, all you need is one time somebody look to the sideline and say, my bad, I had deep third. And they go to damn right?
We see that 15 times the first few weeks?
Yes, we did.
Yes!
Yeah.
Right. So keep it real.
Yeah.
Keep it real. Like, you know when you get that huddle.
Hey,
Ty, tell me you have not gotten in a huddle one time and they call a blitz or check. And you look at somebody next to him and say, ain't nowhere in hell he gonna get this. you know. So if you know as a teammate,
I did it,
the
Leroy.
coaches know.
That's one of the scariest. It's one of the scariest positions in the world to be in a huddle. They call the play, and you blank out. You're just like, hold on, what do I got on this?
I'm gonna be honest with you. It's been times when they called a blitz, and I said, I know I'm supposed to check out, but I'm running this blitz.
Yeah. Hey,
you better get home. If you do it, you better get home.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, and you don't understand how now all that stuff that Ty just talking about, right? Somebody go in motion. Oh, my goodness. You want to talk about blitzes, everybody looking at each other? Do I go? Do you go?
Boy.
And then somebody just say, forget it. Cover 2. Cover 2. And they just, am I right?
Call it off.
Tell me. Hey,
No.
y'all got to go to coverage no matter what. And the leader of the defense, the guy calling the players, will look around and go, we ain't got this.
Yeah.
Cover 2.
Yeah.
Cover 2. And just back it
That's a
out.
fact.
It's a fact, man.
Is that because
Look,
offensive players are smarter than defensive players?
No.
No, I would say this. I would say this. Offensive players are less affected by defensive movement because you can't hide everything on defense. You can line everybody up, you can do all this stuff, but at some point you know different areas have to be covered and somebody's going to get there. So no matter how much they move, they just window dressing. You know they got to cover the field. Whereas offense, from a defensive standpoint, when the offense moves around, it changes everybody's responsibilities. That's not necessarily true on offense.
That makes the defense actually smarter. That everybody got to recognize.
No, it doesn't, because y'all don't get it right. That's why we move.
Leroy.
What is wrong with
He's-
him?
I'm just telling you.
What is your
Hey,
beef?
I'm just telling you. Hey, listen. This is me. I'm in the backfield, right? Me and the linebacker looking at each other. I know I'm going to my right. I just look over here, and he'll say, he coming at you. He coming at you. And I'm just thinking, this dude is stupid. And they start sliding over to the left, and you know what I'm like, wow.
All of that.
Hey, let me tell you what it is.
All right. Hey.
Bull,
Yeah.
Bush, I'm going to tell you this real quick.
Yeah.
You know what it is? They want so bad to be smart that they start yelling stuff even if it's the wrong thing. If you watch a football game,
a lie.
every defender
That is a lie.
want to yell, they know what's up.
That's true. That's true.
Like, but here's offense. Offense is like, if we know
You already
what
know
you're
it.
going to do, we ain't going to sit here and then announce it.
Well, you got to make sure everybody on the same page, Leroy.
All right, guys, hold on a second. We got a question for you, Leroy. Here we go. Let me tell folks that obviously we want you to subscribe to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on YouTube. Make sure you hit the like button. Over 17,000 subscribers, over 17,300 subscribers now. Become a super chatter. Become a member. There's 2 levels of membership, of course. I will be doing our first over the starters tier, just $1.99 a month. And then the coaches tier, which is $4.99 a month. And there's going to be bonus content for the coaches tier, which we will be providing starting today.
First
That's right.
bonus.
First bonus content. And as part of this, we got a super chat question specifically for Leroy. So, Mikey, tell us the question for Leroy.
We do, and anytime we get an internet question, it's brought to us by our good friends at PCC Airfoils. Looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits? PCC Airfoils is the leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio.
Okay.
All locations of PCC Airfoils in Eastlake, Mentor, Wilkett, and Minerva are hiring for all positions starting $18 and up, plus full benefit packages, paid time off, and a signing bonus. Apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more. This question, Leroy, comes from Donnie. He says, Jacoby Brissett has thrown for over 220 yards in 7 of the 8 games. What do you think the passing game will look like when Watson returns if he isn't rusty?
It should look the same. You know,
Same?
maybe a little. I mean, there might be a couple of throws here and there that Deshaun makes that Jacoby won't, right? But this team is built around running the football, so everything comes off that. If you're running the football well, Deshaun Watson ain't gonna throw the ball. Don't mean he's not good. It just means that don't get caught up in Deshaun Watson being back, and then all of a sudden you think you got to be a different team.
Oh, it's gonna happen. Oh, they gonna think.
I know.
Hey, they go. You know it, Leroy. You know. Oh, he gonna throw this ball.
They coming out five wide.
Because here's the thing. He comfortable. Now Stefanski's like, oh, I got my new shiny toy. That's like you get a toy on Christmas and the parents say you can't open that till next week. What?
They're not going to keep that in the garage. But at the very least, they're going to run RPOs, which they can't do right now.
They'll at least do that.
Yeah.
They're definitely going to do
But
that.
But again, Okay, but think about this. The RPO is fine, but it's still coming from the same place of your strength.
Right. Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
That's true. That's right.
what I'm saying about, can Deshaun Watson do some different things? Yes. But should they stay true to who they are, it's only going to make all the parties involved better. It's going to make it better for Jacoby. The other thing is, Peoples-Jones has picked up his game.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey.
I loved him coming into the year.
And let's not.
I'll give you credit.
Let's not.
I'll give him credit.
I mean, I've been impressed with him going up and getting the ball, his route running.
He catches
Right
everything.
now,
Yep.
I will say this:
Yeah.
they don't really throw the ball deep, and I don't know why that is, because they always seem to. Amari Cooper is very similar to Jarvis Landry, in that they're middle of the field, outcut, sideline guys. Amari Cooper is a better route runner, but they're very similar in that they're going to be a guy you can always go to. Who's going to be that guy to stretch the field? That's the question that I have.
I think DPJ can, but they just haven't used him that
I
way.
think Brandon Cooks is trying to get released so the
Well, he'd
Cleveland
be a
Browns
great
can-
fit.
Oh, shut up. Stop playing with me.
Yeah, but I think that's
Hey,
You see Deshaun
what
Watson.
you know?
You see Deshaun Watson comment on it after he put that tweet out yesterday. So just saying. Don't look at it.
not for nothing. Tell Deshaun put his Twitter thumbs down. Let's leave that alone for a while.
I agree with you, brother.
And you know,
Let's get back to football because
It's time coming back up. You get ready to touch that field. You ready?
Hold on. I got to get an answer from the three guys who played football here. Why is Jedrick Wills wearing a visor that you, what do you call it? What's the word I'm looking for?
Visor, yeah.
No, but he's wearing one that like
The tinted one?
The tent. Yeah.
Why is he wearing a tinted visor for a night game? Can somebody explain that to me?
Well, it doesn't
Yes.
affect the ability.
I would think you can't see.
No, see,
The glare.
to you it looks tinted, but when you look through it, it's still clear.
It's
Well, that makes
clear.
Yeah.
All right.
They
hey,
got
what position does he play?
left
Left
tackle.
tackle.
The hell does he need to see?
Right.
All right, fair enough.
Block the fat guy across from you.
That's
you
right.
like he out there running
Leroy,
go
did you
routes.
say that to your offensive lineman? Did you just say that? Block the fat guy in front of you when you played?
Yeah, well, here's the deal. I had an interesting relationship with my offensive line because one of them, in Orlando Brown, was big as hell.
Oh man.
Oh my God, he
And-
was big.
Yes, and then we had Tony Jones,
Big.
and then I had one of my best friends, Steve Everett.
Oh yeah.
People
So,
forget
me and
Steve
Steve
Everett
played
was a
in
good
college,
good
so-
center. He's a good center.
Yeah, so I tell you what, it wasn't nobody gonna do nothing to me because Steve was coming. I'm talking about on my team, the other team, anybody. So I say, hey, look, I'm riding it down with that guy.
Were you in Minnesota
huh?
when they had Corey Stringer?
Yeah,
Yes.
I was. Hey, he was the biggest human being that had feet like a DB. It was amazing.
That's
Quick
unbelievable.
feet.
He
Yeah.
can get in his back pedal.
Yes. Dude, he was so good on his feet. But I'm going to tell y'all a quick little story.
Yeah.
So we were playing the game. We were playing against Green Bay. Now, there's a rule in the NFL. I don't know if y'all familiar with this rule. The rule is don't cut Reggie White.
Oh,
That's
so
it.
that was a thing. Like, hold on, that was
Hey.
an unknown thing. You don't touch Reggie. Why?
Unwritten rule.
You
Really?
don't cut him. You don't cut him.
I never knew that.
Hold on. I'm getting to it because Reggie White didn't cuss and he ain't talk bad about folks. In the West Coast offense, you have those quick three-step drops.
Yep.
And it don't matter who's on the inline scrimmage, you got to get their hands down. So I go out there, throw at his legs, he put his hands down. And we get up, we go back to the huddle, and Corey and the right guard, they staring at me. I'm like, what's up? I said, man, Reggie over there praying. That's never a good sign. Why did you cut him? I say, man, I'm just doing my job. Y'all know you can't cut Reggie. So on the very next play, right, we run another pass play. Corey Stringer drops back. Reggie White does the old hump move.
Oh,
and no lie, there is a picture of Reggie White throwing Corey Stringer with that hump move, and his feet are 1.5 feet off the ground.
He lifted his soul.
Lifted
John
him.
Legend, let's get lifted.
And we get back to the huddle, and everybody's staring at me again. But like it was my fault.
Well, your fault. You were to blame.
It's my fault that Reggie White got mad.
Yeah.
He was talking about, Lord Jesus. He's in the corner. And all the offensive linemen, instead of trying to get their mouthpiece in and get strapped up, they just sitting there looking at me. Like, it's my fault. Like, Reggie was going to play ball until you cut him.
Oh, my God. Leroy, you're the best. I think you've told some good stories. I think that's the best one ever. Thank you, Leroy. We'll talk to you next week.
My
All right, man.
Hey, man, that's crazy.
That's an all-timer right there.
Hey, bro, that move, that Reggie White move.
Reggie White's about to kill you now.
I gotta get Robert Smith. He gotta corroborate this story. Robert Smith, he gotta corroborate. That boy, Reggie.
Did you know that, Robert?
Yeah, I did know that, and the first time that Reggie was up there in that we played them, it was up in Minnesota, and man, I'm not scared of any human being in this city. Like, there are people I'd rather not mess with, but you fear no man, as they say. And Reggie White, I mean, Corey Stringer's playing right tackle, and Reggie White just ran him over, and I was on that side to help, right? And the only reason that he didn't get to sack the quarterback was because I was just able to slow him down enough, because it took him a little bit of time to actually run over Corey, like physically, like you say he ran him over. Like, he has to actually get over him, right? So by the time he got over him, I was set up, to block him, and it was able to keep him from the quarterback. But man, there's another funny video. You got to check this one out. By the way, I just tweeted a picture of me jumping over the goal line at Lambeau, and Reggie's got his arms fully up and extended. And there's some people that you don't mess with, right? Like, yeah. I'm not taking the ball over near you. I'm jumping over. I'm jumping that way, not this way, not towards Reggie. But man, there was this one play design where
Hey, Robert, here's the picture, by the way, that everyone can see.
Oh, Lord.
You got some ups, my man.
So,
that's cool.
But I don't even know why they designed this play this way. But they had Chris Carter. They had Chris Carter like on a sift block where he's coming back, across the line, and Reggie's over there. And Reggie and Chris were boys, right? No, not on game day, man. You talk about the club move and how it worked on 350-pound offensive linemen. What do you think he did to Chris Carter? It looked like one of those scenes where somebody's got some beer muscles at the bar, and there's a steroid bouncer in charge, right? And just physically just threw him. I mean, it was impressive. It was always fun to play against Reggie, though, man. Great guy. Rest in peace. But man, you knew. You don't go cut Reggie.
And Robert, the thing that I always go back to is during that era, you look at it, everybody say Lawrence Taylor is the best. Some people say he's the best defensive football player that ever played against.
Bruce Smith.
Bruce Smith was really good. But in the era you played in, people don't understand that was the golden era.
Yeah.
You had guys like Kevin Green. You had Dolman. You also
You had Johnny Randall on our
John
team.
Randall was on your team. You still
We had
played
Warren Sapp.
Warren Strahan. Everybody, these guys, and Derek Thomas. I remember when Derek Thomas, he was the first dude I ever seen get 5. I said, he got 5-6 sacks. Derek Thomas is unstoppable.
But Derek Thomas was great. So, preseason tempo is a little bit different, right?
Yeah.
And we would go to the outside linebackers in particular, before the game, and it was like, we good? Yeah, we good. Hey, I'm not cutting you, but it's not going to be, some sort of bull rush, right? So you just you know what the tempo is going to be. I remember having those conversations with Derek, and may Derek rest in peace too. But a story about Warren. Warren was rushing one time, and he was an interior tackle, but he was rushing one time, and I don't remember why I was matched up on it. But, you don't want to make a living having your running back matched up on Warren Sapp. But I went out to block him, and he jumped, just expecting the cut. And sure enough, wow, I cut him, and he landed like on his damn head, right? I remember Warren getting up, and he's like, "Man, you do that shit. You do that again."
That's how you know it's real.
That's how you know the story real, because you know Warren Sapp said it like that.
He having a relapse.
He said, "I'm the bust, Joe." I said, "Hey, man, I got to do it. What do you expect me to stay up on?" And he was laughing about it, thankfully. Right? One of those things, like, he knew he got caught. He knew he shouldn't have been up in the air like that. Like, I got to cut you, man.
Man.
Robert, as a running back, who was the toughest to pick up? Like, who hit you the hardest?
Well, see, but this is like the hardest hit I ever took was from Brock Marion. It was either Brock Marion or it was Darren Woodson. I don't remember because it happened. Like, when it happened, it was back before they had what is the show where they're inside the locker room during
Hard Knocks.
What is it again?
Hard Knocks.
Hard Knocks. Right. Well, back then it was 6 days to Sunday. Like we were like one of the first ones, and it was us against the Cowboys, like on a Sunday night. And I remember it was a run. I had come through the line, and Jake Reed is, at wideout, and he's coming up, and he's coming to block whoever it was. I don't remember if it was either Brock or Darren, and he just misses them, and they, got their helmet right into my rib cage, right? And I seriously, I don't understand why they don't say this to you day one in football. Like, you might get the breath knocked out of you and think you're gonna die, right?
Yes.
Like, I was on the field after I got hit. I'm up, and I'm gasping. I'm like, like I can't take a breath in, right? And I completely convinced myself that I was going to die on national TV. And I'm walking to the sideline and I'm laughing, right? And everybody's like, "What are you laughing about?" Like, I swear to God, 10 seconds ago, I thought I was going to die on national TV. So I was just happy to get to the sideline.
Boy.
Robert, let's switch gears to college football, the first college football rankings. It always blows my mind that people get so worked up about these rankings. Like, it doesn't, first of all, it's so early. This week alone, Tennessee and Georgia are playing each other. So, people are upset that Ohio State's number 2, but what does it matter? Because we know that the Tennessee-Georgia winner is going to be number 1, no matter what. Ohio State could beat Northwestern by 100, and the Tennessee, which they might, and Tennessee-Georgia winner is going to be number 1, and they should be number 1, the winner of that game.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter,
so
right?
Nuts.
I guess the only way that it matters is you kind of get, an inside view, or at least an idea of kind of how teams are going to be ranked. They talked about Alabama and TCU and talked about game control, and I'm not one of those people that thinks that the committee has some sort of agenda. I just don't see it that way. I mean, there are some really good people in there. I think Ty Willingham is still on there. You know, Ty was my running back coach when I was with the Vikings, and Ty's not the kind of guy that's going to, you know, tolerate any kind of mess or any type of agendas or anything like that. You know, people don't like it, but I think that they've gotten it right time and time again, and it's a thorough process. And more importantly, you know, you got a lot of different voices to kind of even out any potential biases that might exist. But honestly, I don't know why anybody cares. The only rankings that matter are the ones, you know, that happen after the final regular season game.
Yeah.
Robert, do you think – did you watch the Penn State game when they played them last Saturday? Do you think that the game that Jalen Tuimoloau had was the single greatest defensive performance you've ever watched?
Man, you know, the craziest thing for me was the first interception because of the way that he broke on the ball. Mm-hmm. I mean, you know, the diagnosis, you know, that recognition, but getting his foot in the ground the way that he did and the way that he burst it. I mean, damn! And I know that he's been close this year, right? Mm-hmm. Like he's been, you know, developing, you know, as a pass rusher and getting more pressure. Didn't necessarily have the numbers, but I think that was the most impressive one to me. And you know, the way that he caught the second interception so cleanly. Yeah. You know, they were both surprising to me, but that first one. Just the way that he broke on that ball, man. I didn't know that he had feet like that. I didn't know that, you know, a big guy, you're talking 270 pounds breaking on a ball like that. I mean, there are so many things that you see in today's game. You know, whether, you know, like Jordan Davis, the former Georgia guy, like a 4.7 or something stupid, right? Like something that doesn't make any sense. You see so many things from these players that just surprise you. Like it seems like it shouldn't be possible physically, but man, that's having a damn day, right?
You know, Robert, I look at Ohio State, and before there was a period where I would say Ohio State is a school known for running backs. But then after as that went on, I was like, hold on, well, maybe they might be known for defensive backs. For a while, they had a DB, but now I think they are known for wide receivers. Like every year, like you look at, you know what I'm saying, you look at what they had in Olave and Wilson last year. Then Smith and Jigba comes out, and he had the best year of both of them last year. But then he doesn't play. Now they got Marvin Harrison Jr., and they just spot shadowing. How many teams in the country would be like, man, Jackson Smith and Jigba's out. We can't do nothing. We got to run the ball. No, they got Marvin Harrison, and they just spot shadow him. I don't know if Ohio State is going to be – they'll continue to do that. But I think, to me, they're known for wide receivers at this point.
No question about it. You know, Alabama kind of had that for a few years, and you know what's funny is, you know, Jamison Williams, you know, who was at Alabama, had been at Ohio State. So you really had three guys that Ohio State had on their roster drafted with consecutive picks in the first round last year. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. And you know, Brian Hartline was obviously a great receiver, you know, at Ohio State and did his thing for a while down there in Miami. But, man, he is recruiting the hell out of those guys and developing them too. And I think that's the most important part, because when you show that you can take a guy from these high school systems, get them into your system at the college level and develop them into pros, that's what makes kids, you know, that makes kids want to go and play for you. And that's what Brian Hartline's been able to do.
Robert, we appreciate the time as always, man. Thanks for joining us.
Appreciate you.
Okay, guys. Take it easy.
See you, Robert. We're going to get to true or false in just a second. I hate the polls, guys. I think the fact that we care, even dumber beyond this, is that we care about the preseason polls and the AP poll. Those are completely meaningless. The idea that Ohio State should be number one because they were higher up in the AP poll is stupid. Yeah, Tennessee deserves to be number one right now, but who cares? It'll all play itself out as these teams play the best games.
I think what you got to do is, I think once you start getting, to me, I want 16 teams.
I like
Wait,
12,
it's going
though.
to 12.
Okay.
I like 12 because with 16, there's no advantage of being a top 14 besides a home
It's
game,
watering
maybe.
it down, is what it's doing.
I think 12 is perfect because it gives a bye to the first 4 teams. That's a big advantage still.
Well,
And then teams 5 through 8 get a home game in that first round. So there's an advantage for each for each of the
I like that.
top 8 teams.
12 is cool. I'm not nitpicking 12. But when it happens and they expand it,
They'll eventually go more.
They'll go
Eventually,
more.
Yeah.
And
No,
then-
they're not.
I-
It's going
they
to
will.
water it down.
It doesn't matter. They're going to make money doing it.
Them playoff games, watch Tyvis.
No.
The playoff games are
No.
going to be
It better
bowl
never.
games are garbage.
It better never go past 12.
I like 12. I think they should stay there, but it's money. They're going to go more. By the way, real quick, Mikey McNuggets. Tyvis, first you caught Tyvis eating candy on TV.
Steve,
But
I don't know what's wrong with Steve. Steve has it out for me.
What's funny is that Steve missed 2 things here. Number 1, Steve did miss me listening to a voicemail.
Yeah.
Tyvis saw me doing it, and the reason I did it, I'm so annoyed. So I, as many of you know, I've been having this problem with my eyes, the skin around my eyes. Now it's much better now. It's pretty much cleared up. However, I had to switch from one cream that I put on, for this to a new one that I started yesterday, and my freaking eyes are burning, like for 12 hours.
Oh, yeah.
Not terribly, but it's still burning. And it's uncomfortable.
Because it low-key works your way into your
Yeah,
eyes.
so it's ticking me off. So I called a dermatologist this morning. It was 9:30, and I said, listen, I have some questions about what the hell's going on. Please do not call me back between 10:45 and 1 o'clock. Please call me before 10:45 or after 1 o'clock. I cannot answer my phone between 10:45 and 1 o'clock. So, of course, they call me during the show.
This is the nurse.
I mean, come on, nurse. Do you listen to the message at all?
This is nurse. We're calling on behalf of the doctor's office. You left us a message. Give us a call back.
Right, and then I won't get it when I call back, of course.
We'll be available next
Freaking
January.
doctor's offices. It's a racket. Anyway. All right. By the way, one other thing. Shout out to Steve, who knew that this means call to the bullpen, and Tyvis didn't know it.
Future MLB baseball player Tyvis Powell and
Exactly.
sports aficionado director Steve, who doesn't know, admittedly
Director
doesn't know a ton
Steve
about
is
sports.
one of only 2 men I've met in my entire 12 years in Cleveland that don't know sports. And by the way,
Steve
90
knows sports.
90% of the women I've met in Cleveland know sports too. But because pretty much everybody knows sports in Cleveland. Like, I meet a lot of people in New York that don't know sports. Here, everybody knows sports. Steve is one of only 2 men that I have met, literally, in 12 years living here that don't know sports. But he knew this was a call to the bullpen. Shout out to Steve. Tyvis didn't know it.
Dang, bro.
You can't know it. You can't know
confirm
everything.
both
Listen,
accounts.
even Einstein asked questions.
What?
Where did he
Probably
pull
true.
that?
I don't know
It's
what that has
probably
to do with
true.
anything.
Like, where did you pull that from, dog? Even
True or false, McNuggets?
Let's go. Didn't I win last time?
No, I won last
No.
time.
G won
G
last
beat
time.
me on the
came
last
in
round.
dead
That's
on
right.
the last one. Bull also said I didn't put it in the rundown, but it was in the rundown.
It was?
Yeah, go back
All
and
right.
look.
I don't care. I just didn't remember it.
Yep. Well,
I love
today's
true or false.
true and
Go ahead.
false.
All right,
A
fellas.
Wednesday specialty
With only 3 of us.
is on Darius Garland. We haven't seen him on the court for more than 12 minutes
Wait a
this year.
minute.
So
Did Jay send in answers?
no, we're gonna follow around with YouTube, but one of you 3 will be our
Jay is on a
champion.
cruise. He hasn't responded to any text
Except yesterday.
to text that Miles Stroh won the Gold Glove.
It is awesome. So
Which is
Steve,
funny.
let's get the music, and let's play a round of our favorite.
Here we
internet
go.
game.
Here we go.
It's the music that messes me up.
Oh, your anti-dramatic music.
By the way, if you are a member, I need to see lots of G Bush emojis in this. I need that support.
By the way, what? So I thought I won
Drop
because
those
I remember
emojis.
Tyvis handing me the belt for
I
something
did
last
hand
week.
you the belt.
What was that for?
You had a
just-
good
you had-
comment.
You made a good comment.
Oh, okay.
You made a good
Well, I
comment.
appreciate that.
All right, well, let's get to the game. 8 questions on Darius Garland.
Here we go,
Let's see
Darius
how well
Garland.
you know the Cavs all-star point guard. Take the first
Love
one,
Darius
Steve.
Garland.
Garland was listed at 6'4" on his Vanderbilt bio because they measured him from the top of his hair. Is that true or false?
But he doesn't. Is his hair that big?
It may have been in
He's
college.
not Jared Allen. Oh wow. Or college.
Stumped him already.
Wait a
Let's
minute.
go.
Wait a minute.
Let's go. No copying off the big dog.
Hey, look at your
You know
answer.
what I'm saying? Y'all cats be trying to.
Now wait a second. Is this what? Does the whole sentence have to be a lie? Like He could have been measured. He could have been measured wrong, but for a different reason.
Whether that's true or false,
That's something
it's up to
Okay,
you.
fair
Wait
enough.
a minute.
decide.
Look, he didn't talk me out of it. He talked me out.
A 3.
All right, Bull says false.
False.
He talked me out of it.
False. And Tyvis says false as well.
Yeah, it's false across the board.
False across the board. And to start, you guys are all 1-0. It is correct.
Yeah.
See what
He's
happened.
not listed at
See
6.
what
your favor
happened.
there.
See what happened
Is he 6'4"?
they see my. They
No,
see,
he's not 6'4". He
But
did
that
have an
wasn't the
afro.
reason.
He had a mini
I
afro
thought he
coming
was.
out of high school.
Listen,
Oh,
the
he had an
reason
afro
I
in high
knew it
school?
was false.
Not 3 in. He's listed at 6'1", but he did have a little.
Bigger afros are coming back.
Listen, the reason I know it's false is because
Yeah.
I went through the combine. You know what I grew my hair out. You know what they
Yeah.
did? Parted your stuff and put that thing right down.
This was in college, not for the combine.
Even in college.
yeah, you know it's crazy. I was arguing with somebody.
Yeah. That afros are coming back?
No, you can't have cornrows and work a regular job.
That's not
Yeah,
true.
you can.
Oh no. If you want to be in
It
leadership,
depends what a job
I'm about to
is.
say it depends
if
on what
you want to
yeah.
work in an office and you want to be in leadership positions, you cannot have cornrows.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, that's
I agree.
stupid.
You right? Look, right?
I agree.
Look,
I don't know that that's the case across the board, but generally I would say
If
you're
I was
probably
running
right.
for office and I had cornrows, I wouldn't get a vote.
yeah.
Didn't Ty Lue have cornrows when he was coaching the Clippers?
No.
No, he had cornrows when he played.
Yes.
He got that.
And sports is different anyway. Media is different too. Like you could get a radio job with cornrows.
If you're on TV, you can't be a weatherman,
No,
an
you
anchor,
can't.
none of that.
That's so
Next,
dumb though.
next question.
Next question.
Go
Next
ahead.
question.
Exposing
Question
the
number 2.
truth.
Darius Garland is the youngest of 6 siblings in his family. True or false?
That's a lot of kids,
That is a lot of kids.
especially in America.
He ain't.
Are his parents religious? That's the question. Religious people tend to have more kids.
That's a lot of kids, man.
That is a lot of
To
kids.
support straight up. They didn't know he was gonna be no basketball player. Think about that. That's a lot of kids.
It is a lot of kids. It's an inappropriate amount. Nobody under the age of 50 should have more than 4 kids, in my opinion.
All right, is everybody ready?
Yeah.
Let's see it. False for Bull, false for G, and true for Tyvis. And Tyvis, you have an official lead, sir. It is true. He is the youngest of 6. And the 5-time true and false champ takes a 1-game lead.
Wow.
2 questions in.
Did you know it?
No, I didn't. I mean, technically, yeah, I did.
If you have 3 kids nowadays, you got to be working 2-3 jobs. 4, you better hit the lottery. 5, we got to talk about moving one of y'all onto another program.
It's not
You gonna
hard.
say what
It's not that hard to raise kids when you have more than 3, because now you have help.
They got to be
Yeah,
staggered.
but it's
though.
still money. Every kid is money.
Hand-me-downs.
Yeah, but you can't hand me down food. Not throwing it up and eating it again.
It's called.
But if they're young, they getting
Is
breast
you
milk
reusing
anyway,
diapers, Tyvis?
formula.
You about to
That's
eat
only
this?
for a year or so.
You got some brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I got one brother, one sister. I'm the youngest.
Okay.
All right, question
I knew
number
the
3.
answer. I know a young guy when I see him.
Darius Garland currently has the most points of any player drafted in the 2019 NBA draft.
I don't even
True or
know
false?
who is in the
Who was in
draft.
that 2019 draft? It couldn't have been false.
I can't think of who it is.
False. I know who it is.
Wait.
You're out of here.
Hold on, wait a minute.
You're out of here. I already know who it is.
G. Bush is confident.
He is confident.
Get that many points.
Come on, I'm just roll false. Oh, I done said it.
All right, so G. Bush says false. Does everyone say false?
False.
You guys are on to me. It's false. Ja Morant has 1,000 points more than Garland, who is second for most
Hey,
active
Garland didn't
points.
score that much. his
But
first
here,
year.
I'm about to say, he didn't score that much.
And if Zion Williamson wasn't hurt, he'd have had all of them.
That guy's never going to stay healthy.
He averaged 25
Is
as
he
a
hurt now?
He just missed a couple. He's back, but he
back.
missed like
He
a
missed-
couple of games. He always has some nagging injury.
By the way, I do as a former basketball player in high school.
It's in his contract that he can't get.
When you start having, you always know when you're starting to have problems when you ain't dunking the ball. When you look at he's not every first year he's dunking everything moving. Now it's layups. That is not a good sign that he's laying the ball up in his 3rd year.
Unless you're a white guy, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah, Scalabrini, finger roll.
That is correct, G. All right, question number 4.
Except
Darius
for Dustin
Garland.
Fox, he can dunk. He can still dunk.
Yeah, he's still. Yeah,
Darius Garland started on his high school's varsity team as an 8th grader. and led Brentwood Academy to 4 consecutive Tennessee State
See, I
championships.
hate this. I hate when you do stuff like this.
It's an obnoxious question.
You're welcome, Tyvis.
I hate this one because he's from L.A. I mean, he's from Cali.
I thought you said L.A. or Louisiana.
Tennessee.
Tennessee. Neither. A lot of pressure here. A lot of pressure. We're already one behind Tyvis.
Let's roll.
Tyvis, what you got? Oh, all right. I got false also.
False.
Yes, sir.
We need better. I can't see from back here.
He said true.
We got false,
Yes,
true, and Tyvis. What do you say?
false.
He's got false.
False.
What happened to our curtain? How come somebody opened our curtain?
We have some people from Colleague here that want a little behind-the-scenes look here. So wave to our good friends over at Colleague
Hi.
who are taking a look.
Guess
We're
come
playing
sit
true or
down
false
over
right
here.
now,
if you
guys.
like.
We are on question 4
have a
about
couple
Darius
of
Garland. The
chairs.
answer to this question, by the way, is true. So G. Bush, you have gone through tied Tyvis with one
didn't know.
with 3 correct answers. Now, Bull, you're 1 game
That
back
sucks.
as we're
Shout out-
halfway through.
Shout out to Ball is Life. Ball is Life. They used to follow Darius Garland around. He was one of the top guys on the internet. I knew it. I just tied the game.
This is unfair.
Did he
She
win
doesn't
them?
sleep and all he does is watch YouTube all night, and so he has an advantage that we don't have.
McNuggets, did he win any of them?
Did he what?
Did he win any of the states?
Yeah, he won 4 in a row. That
Oh,
was
he
true.
won.
I
That was
didn't,
part of the question.
I didn't
was
read
true.
that part. I thought he said he led them to
See,
4
it's called
consecutive.
basic listening skills. You actually have to listen to what he says and then put it on
To
the board.
Tyvis's
God.
credit, in the
That
middle of that question, we had our good friends from Colleague walk
Yeah,
by. So there was a little
yeah,
confusion
I
there,
didn't
but
read.
No, that's no
it's okay.
excuse.
We love our friends from
That's no
Colleague.
excuse.
All
I got it
right,
wrong,
next
too.
question.
All right,
Question
here
number
we go.
5.
So wait a second. I'm 1 behind both of them now,
You are
right?
1 behind both of them. Tyvis and G are both tied with 3 correct answers. Bull, you have 2. Question 5. Garland's father, Winston, played in the NBA for 7 seasons. True or false?
By the way, is that Fred VanVleet in that picture?
That is Fred
Yes.
VanVleet.
I need him to get his ass off the bench and play because he's hurting my fantasy team by being hurt right now.
I'm so sorry.
Let's go. I'm in second place. I need to get back in the first.
I'll send him a direct message on Twitter saying that
okay.
he's killing your fantasy team.
Yeah.
So once again, Tyvis, in case you didn't hear the first time, the question was, did Garland's father, Winston, play in the NBA for 7 years? True or false?
I feel like it's so true.
Is everybody ready?
G's still writing.
G is writing great.
Let's see.
True.
True. False. G. Bush is our new leader in the clubhouse. The answer's true.
Oh.
Bull has tied Tyvis for second place.
I even predicted Bull would get it incorrect. Look, here's my
Oh, that's harsh.
Yeah, Bull, you didn't get that straight away.
I got it
what you
right,
was
though.
hoping
He
to
got it
get.
wrong.
Bull did get it right, though, G.
Oh, okay.
So he should
How many
lose a
que-
half a point.
How many questions is left?
So what do we got now?
Right now,
G is
it
in the lead
is-
by itself.
G is 4-1. Bull is 3-2. Tyvis is 3-2
Forget the
with 3
lose,
questions
just
left.
the wins, Mike. Come
Just
on, I
wins.
thought we got over that
Well,
part.
I'm looking at our little, updated stats
All right, so
graphic here.
4 and then
4,
we're
3, 3 with
All
3
right.
questions left.
3 left. Still plenty of
Oh,
time to
listen.
go.
Oh, we got time.
Let's close this thing out.
Let's go.
Let's take the next one,
Close
Steve.
the
Question
thing out.
number 6.
Yeah.
Darius Garland recorded a grand total of 13 assists in his collegiate career. Is that true or false?
What?
Yes, sir. Easy money. You know how I know?
Don't say anything. You're going to give it away.
Hey, I ain't gonna
Is
give it
everybody
to you.
ready?
Yes.
Let's see it.
True.
True. And Tyvis says false.
That has to be true.
And Tyvis has fallen into last place.
Yeah.
Bull moves into second. G. Bush remains in first
That was
place.
such an absurd question. It had to be true.
Darius Garland, I believe, played between 5 and 10 games in his
He played
freshman
4
year.
games and got hurt 2 minutes into his 5th collegiate.
Right.
So he
There's
Kyrie
no
Irving.
way you would. If that was fake, you would have given us a much higher number than that.
Yeah, well, you guys are picking up on my
I'm not going for all
deceptive
of
strategy.
Bulls one behind me, right?
Yeah.
I'm
Bulls
out.
one behind.
I'm
Tyvis
out.
is 2
No,
back.
you're not out because there's still
There's 2 questions.
left.
Tyvis
Too
can
bad.
still tie here.
You're not officially out yet.
Let's go. Next question.
All right, here we go.
Garland won Tennessee's Mr. Basketball Award 3 times, becoming the first player in the state to accomplish that feat. G. Bush, if you're confident in this one, I really do question what you do at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning.
There's nothing to
whenever
question.
we're
We
asleep.
know what he does at 2 and 3 in the morning.
Yep.
He watches YouTube. He's told us that many times. It's not a mystery.
Yeah.
Or he's doing space exploration. He's
Yes.
into that.
I'm running around on
Wait,
YouTube.
let me see that question
Or he's watching
again.
Pokemon.
Yes,
Let me
or
put that question up one more time.
I will
talk
read
about
the
other
question
things.
again. Garland won Mr. Tennessee Basketball Award 3 times, a.k.a. the best player in Tennessee.
By the way, G is a renaissance man. He was talking to my son off the air about Pokemon. I've never heard an adult have a conversation about
You know
Pokemon.
what? I'm gonna play.
I'm impressed.
I'm gonna play.
All right, let's go.
I'm
Shout
gonna
out
play
to
devil's
you.
advocate.
Your
on
son
this.
is highly
ahead.
intelligent.
Go ahead.
He's way too
Okay,
smart
everyone, let's see
for
your
his age.
answers.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate.
False across the board. False was the right answer.
Damn.
He's the second player to
Yes.
do that. G. Bush, do you know the first one?
Tyvis Powell.
Brendan Wright. You remember that name?
Oh, yeah.
Flash from the
He was a
past.
big man, right?
Big man, played at UNC.
Yeah, I
He was
remember
the
him.
first one.
Did he play for the?
I would have got that
He
wrong.
played for the Warriors, the Timberwolves.
He wasn't
bounced
much
around
of an
the
NBA player,
no, he's
right?
a decent role guy for a little bit, but
it's
not
an
much.
accomplishment. making the
I was
NFL
always
NBA.
surprised when Darius Garland went to Vanderbilt. I was like, why would you not go to Tennessee? Because he was highly recruited. Like, he
Well,
just-
hey, do you know that's the next question? Literally the next question.
Oh, wow.
Let's take it.
So this is the last one.
Last one.
I'm one back at G.
yes.
Tyvis
Tyvis
just
is-
playing
Tyvis is
the
out.
string out at this point.
So true or false?
Yeah.
Garland attended basketball camps as a child at Valparaiso, which is where he met
I
Bryce
don't think it's
Drew.
pronounced Valparaiso.
What's it pronounced?
I can't remember, but
It's
not.
Valparaiso.
I don't think
It's
it's
Valpo's
Valparaiso.
whatever.
All right,
That's
doesn't
besides the point here. Garland attended basketball camps as a child at Valpo, which is where he met Bryce Drew, his future coach at Vanderbilt. True or false?
Gotta have the opposite.
I don't know.
G.
I don't know. I'm trying to think if Bryce Drew was the coach down there at that time. All right.
Hold on.
We're gonna let Tyvis show his answer first because he is playing for a second place tie here. And then we'll have Bull go, and then we'll have G for the final reveal.
I have
Tyvis,
sloppy
are you
hand
ready? Tyvis says true, and the segment is rigged because for once you didn't win. Bull. False. So G, if you get this correct,
It's hilarious.
you win. G. Bush. What says you?
Hilarious.
True.
Come on.
And the answer?
Second place.
It is true.
Oh, no!
Darius Garland grew up in Gary, Indiana,
Oh,
and then moved to Tennessee to play in a system that Bryce
That
Drew
sucks.
was associated with.
All I needed to know, I had to go through the
Congratulations.
Rolodex. I had to go through the annals of time and see Bryce Drew. Was he really there? Because
Whatever
actually, I
I
remember.
G went through the annals of time.
And I remember Bryce Drew at Valpo. Shout
G.
out.
Bush, you are our true or false champion
Congratulations.
today.
Back to back.
Congratulations.
Back
Hey,
to
that was a well-earned
many is that
victory.
for
He went
you?
7-1.
Hey man, I think this is my third ring, but I
This
came,
only your third?
it's my, but I came in second a whole lot of times. I'm the Phil.
I thought this was
I'm
second.
the-
I thought you was
first
tying me with
I'm
this
the
one.
Phil Mickelson of this game.
Congratulations.
That makes me
was a
more.
quality
That makes me
victory,
even
right?
That was
more
quality.
spectacular. I'm at 5
That's
times.
a well-earned win.
You
right?
And
know
by
what?
the way, we have a little poll from the internet I think you guys will enjoy. We asked the chat, who did they want to win?
Yeah.
Do you guys want to know the results?
Bull. G. Bush.
No, definitely not me.
The people's champ, G. Bush.
I think G. Bush got the vote.
G. Bush did get 50% of the vote.
Yeah.
Tyvis had 35%, Bull had 15%.
yes.
People love to hate me.
Yes. At least I made second place twice today.
My mama said, "Boy, why you got this championship belt running around? Why you do that?" I said, "Mom, I didn't make this. This was given to me by the people. I am a river, a connection to those who are disenfranchised, those who are underdogs, and those who aspire to be great." Thank you.
I'm going.
Thank you so much.
Well, if that's the case,
And the people have spoken. Once again, I do this for you.
You
I
are,
do this
you're
for
not
us.
an underdog. You're the fan favorite. So
if that's the case, then I need to bring in my trophy because that was given to me by the people as well.
And by the way, you finished tied for second. We finished tied for second.
So we got a big Cavs game tonight. We got a
Yes.
few minutes for Dave Richard. It is a rematch from last Friday's
Right.
instant classic between Boston and Cleveland. It went to overtime. Karis LeVert with his career game. I think he had 41 points and was it 9
Well, you had
assists?
50.
Yeah, 50
Nets.
with the Nets. So best game as a Cavalier.
Best game
for
as a
sure.
Cav, but yeah, I mean it was impressive beyond doubt. They come to Rocket Mortgage Arena tonight. Guys, how excited are you to see how the Cavs respond to playing the Celtics for the second time? Now they have a little scouting report on how they like to attack them offensively.
You know what I'm excited about, guys? This team, if you think about it, has 6 players. That's pushing it. I was going to say they have 6 players capable of scoring 40, but I don't know right now if Mobley and Allen are actually capable of scoring 40.
40 points?
Yeah.
Mobley is, Allen's not.
Yeah,
I
think Kevin
don't-
Love still is. On a given night, he could still put up 40.
That's a very good point. I think Kevin Love, to me, has made the biggest transformation of any superstar.
Yeah.
Any
Wait
sort
a
of.
minute. Who was the 6 that you had?
Darius,
Okay.
LeVert, Donovan Mitchell, obviously. I was thinking Mobley, Allen, and Kevin Love. That's 6.
Why not Ricky Rubio?
No, he ain't
Nah, he's not.
He dropped. When he
Ricky
dropped
Rubio hasn't
37.
scored 40 points in
How
20
about-
years.
What he scored last year with us?
I'll get his career high in
low
1
20s.
sec, but it's
But
not
No,
close.
he had a game. where
Anybody
he
in
had
the
like
NBA
something
could
crazy.
Theoretically, if they had the
theoretically,
pool.
Yeah,
but like where
Joe
it's
was
like really
playing.
realistic. Jared Allen's not a 40. He's not because he's not shooting any threes.
No,
and
no.
I think Mobley is a guy who will be able to score 40. I don't know right now that he's a guy who can score 40. I don't know yet.
This team
Cedi
is
Osman.
Jetty can get you 30.
Yeah, but I mean,
but-
he's going to be he's
but
going to
you
knock
gonna
down like
lose.
10 threes.
Yeah, he
to get
does for
40.
sure.
When you watch the rest of the league, I've been watching a lot of basketball. That's the way it works, right?
Yeah.
Like if your team is good, you tend to
you're more
watch
interested.
more
Yeah.
baseball or whether it's
watched the
basketball.
Nets and Bulls
Oh,
last
I
night,
watched the
didn't you?
Nets and the Bulls. I pretty much watched every game the Bucks have been in. The Warriors.
You been impressed?
Well,
Warriors
no.
have lost. Who
The-
won that
the
game
Bucks-
last night? The Warriors win last night against the Bulls?
No, the Bulls played the Nets.
No,
The Warriors. Who did the Warriors play last night?
Did the Warriors play?
Yeah, because Curry was having a huge game.
Do you know what Ricky Rubio's career high is, by the way?
What is it?
Tyvis, what do you think?
40.
37 last year. Remember he got
That's what I
stupid-
said. I
he
told
got
you
stupid
he
high
had like
against
a
the Knicks.
crazy
Yeah, but
game.
he's never had 40 though.
Yeah.
Who did the Warriors play last night, Mikey? Do you have that handy?
The
pull it up
Warriors
in one
played
sec,
the
but-
Heat and they lost.
Oh yeah.
116
They
to
lost the
109.
Heat.
At Miami. At Miami.
What's the Warriors' record? I don't think their record's very
3 and
good.
5.
Yeah, that's weird. I mean, they'll be fine, but
Yeah, I mean,
I look at the way the Cavs are constructed, though,
yeah.
and theoretically, if you put their roster next to, say, another good team, I would never in my lifetime think that I would say a team with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving is less talented than the Cavs. I actually think with Darius Garland, I actually think that they're more talented than the Celtics.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, then the Celtics?
Yes, the Cavs.
I mean, wow, that's a good question. I think they have more frontline players.
Yes.
Well, hey, let's go through it right now.
Yeah.
I am sitting
Tatum
here.
and Mitchell are the 2 best players on each team. Who
That's
you
a
taking?
wash.
Yeah.
That's a wash.
That's a wash.
I mean, it's hard to pick one over the other.
I'd probably give a slight edge to Tatum, but it's pick and choose.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know. I think
Jaylen Brown or Darius Garland?
that's a wash too.
Jaylen Brown.
I'd probably just another slight edge to
because
Jaylen.
he's a defender, right?
Yeah.
Bigger, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't
Slight.
know, but
slight.
You go
Are
to
we
third-
factoring in age and stuff like that, or
I'm
no?
saying right now, like
yeah,
tonight, if you're
today.
thinking.
All right, I guess Jaylen Brown, but not by a lot.
No,
I mean,
no,
that's
slight.
a tiny difference.
Then you go Mobley and Marcus Smart. I'm
It's
taking
hard to compare those two guys. They're such different
One's
players.
a defensive player, but I would
I mean,
probably.
Marcus Smart is a more proven player.
He's a defensive player of the year. I'm not going.
Yeah,
I'm not
I mean,
going to
At
knock
this
it.
point, I got to take Marcus.
All right.
Right now, today.
Right now.
today.
All
So
right.
now after that, though, I think it gets a lot of Cavalier
Yes.
favorites.
Yes.
I think like Jared Allen is better than the 4th best
Like,
player.
who's
Like,
the 4th best player on the Celtics?
Derek White.
Robert
Right.
Williams.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Robert
Jared Allen's a
Williams?
lot better
Yeah,
than there.
yeah.
And then you got LeVert and Kevin Love as your 5th and 6th guys.
And I like them better than.
Well, no, it's Malcolm Brogdon.
Malcolm Brogdon's
Oh.
in that conversation.
That's the
Yeah.
4th guy.
And he's kind of a wash with
It's
LeVert.
close, but you got to be fair to the Celtics. They just went to the finals.
They did.
So, it's funny. Ben Axelrod, who works for Channel 3, he put up a tweet earlier about the odds. I don't know if it was the odds to win the East or the wins of the championship. I can't remember.
I'll get it up in 1 sec.
But the Cavs were 6th. And he thought they should have been ahead of, like, Miami or whatever. And I'm like, first of all, the odds are based on how people vote, right? Like, the
Right.
Nets are 3rd because people know Kyrie and they know Kevin Durant. So people will bet. And it's a New York team, even though nobody in New York I know cares about the Nets. It's probably changed in the last decade. But people will just make bets on those teams because they know. If you know a team, more people are going to bet on them, even if it's not. Here's the list, right? So the Nets shouldn't be 3rd right now. They look like an awful. Did the Nets lose last night?
Yes.
They lost. They look awful. The Cavs are behind the Heat, but I'm like, the Cavs on that list, like the Bucks and Celtics, the Bucks have won a championship. We know that they deserve to be the favorite. The Celtics just went to the finals. Those Sixers and Heat teams have gone to the playoffs and won series. Now they've never gone to the finals.
Heat was in the finals when it lost to LeBron. In the bubble, the Heat went to the finals that year.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about that.
They went to the finals.
See, I don't even remember who they played.
Yeah.
So those teams have playoff experience, and the Nets are ahead because they have
Bucks,
the big names, and
do
because even though they haven't gone to the playoffs together, obviously Durant and Kyrie have a ton of experience. So I'm not surprised, even though the Cavs are, I think, as you say, as talented as any team in the East, but they have the least proven talent of any team in the East.
And playoff basketball is different.
Yeah.
So those guys have shown me they can kick it up a notch and turn it up a little bit.
And then you got to take into account that, the Cavs haven't been to the playoffs since JB's been the coach. How do we know how he's going to coach in the playoffs? The only thing that we can go off is the play-in games where I think he got out-coached a little bit in those games.
I mean, and it was his first time with this team, and it's like there's a lot. They got to prove it. And first of all, this season, as great as the Cavs are, as much as we love them, as much as we love how they're playing, it's been 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't get carried away based on 2 weeks.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, it won't be the last Cavs conversation. Obviously, tomorrow we'll talk plenty about the Cavs after they hopefully beat Boston tonight.
We are leading with the Cavs tomorrow, barring breaking news, just so everyone knows.
Let's talk some fantasy football. Our buddy Dave Richard is with us, CBSSports.com. Hello,
there
Dave.
He goes.
What's up, fellas? Are you racing to get Deion Jackson off your waiver wire?
I kept him in one league. Why? Did something happen to Jonathan Taylor that I haven't seen today?
Jonathan Taylor is not practicing today. He's got the ankle issue. It's seeming to be a problem. It's seemingly a problem, and I think we could potentially see him maybe be limited if he plays. Limited for Jonathan Taylor is still. It could be pretty good for Jonathan Taylor. That could be like 65% of the snaps bowl. But Deion Jackson's now the number 2 guy behind him because they traded Naheem Hines.
That's true. Good
and
point.
I think he's worth rostering. I think you made a smart move by hanging on to him.
I did. I started him that week. He had the big week. And I have Barkley on a bye this week, so now, especially if Taylor doesn't play, I'm going to play him in this league.
You might be cruising.
Tyvis is looking at his fantasy.
I already got him.
Tyvis already has him.
Oh, you already got him? Nice.
Of course Tyvis does. I expect him to.
Yeah,
he's smart.
By the way, he did cut Dak Prescott by mistake.
That was crazy.
I don't know. He's
He
learning.
gets a pass for that from me.
Yeah, all right.
Oh, I got a question. I know what I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is it Isaiah Likely? Is that his name?
The Ravens tight end.
Should I pick him up, or should I just keep rolling with Gesicki?
Gesicki is an interesting tight end. I actually did a lot of research on him today. He has 5 red zone targets and 4 end zone targets in his last 3 games. So the Dolphins clearly look to him when they're basically inside the 15, but not at the goal line or at the 2. That's Gesicki's territory. He's had an end zone target each of his past 3 games. Should have scored in 3 straight games. So if you view him as a touchdown or bust tight end, I don't mind him this week. Now, in saying that, if there is a scenario where Mark Andrews doesn't play this week for the Ravens against the Saints, Isaiah Likely, you saw what he's capable of doing on last Thursday. He could do something like that again. He's a move tight end who's better against zone coverage than man coverage, and he's pretty quick, and he's got good hands and a big catch radius, and Lamar Jackson's always favored the middle of the field. He's not particularly good throwing to the sidelines. I think that's where you could see Likely step up, but I think it takes Mark Andrews being out in order for that to happen.
And that's tricky because it's Monday Night Football for the Ravens.
Right. But so, look, here's the thing, is that if Mark Andrews practices by Friday or Saturday, I think you can pretty much assume that he'll play in the game.
Right.
And if you have to make a call and you don't know whether or not Andrews is going to play, you just start Gesicki or whoever you have if you don't have Gesicki.
So, there's a couple of areas here. First of all, Hawkinson, he just got traded. Does his value go up or down based on where he's moving to?
If I had to pick up or down, I think I'd say down. But honestly, I feel like it's going to stay exactly where it is, where it's going to depend on the scheme that the Vikings play against. The matchup will be a factor, and how much Kirk Cousins will have to throw will be a factor. Obviously, he's got an upgrade going from Goff to Cousins, but he's still in a crowded offense, still might see more than 5 or 6 targets in a game rarely. He's probably going to be a guy that lives around 3 or 4 catches per game. He had that monster game earlier in the year, and then everything else he's had, it's been right around 8-9 fantasy points in PPR leagues. So I'm not that excited about Hawkinson for the rest of this season.
Let me give one more follow-up, too. Like, we got A lot of buys this week. You looking at flexes, guys that you're trying to get some just squeeze a game or two out of. We got Robert Woods, Allen Robinson, and Dobbs from Green Bay.
Green Bay.
Which one of those guys do you think is a better upside this week?
A week ago this time, I was not a Dobbs fan, but then some things happened. Christian Watson, their other rookie wide receiver, he got hurt against Buffalo. And Dobbs had to play. And remember, Alan Lazard was out for Green Bay for that game. Dobbs started making some plays, and that's a tough defense that he did it against, caught the touchdown. I like him the best, not only because of the opportunity that he has in this Green Bay offense, but they're taking on the Lions. And you saw how bad the Lions defense was last week. Not that it's the same thing. Romeo Dobbs to Tyreek Hill, not the same thing. But those Lions gave up a ton of yards, especially in the middle of the field to those Dolphins receivers. I think they're going to continue to struggle against the pass. And I think it's going to open the door for Dobbs to have another pretty good game.
I got one more question for you. Running back related. Kenyon Drake this week versus New Orleans or Joe Mixon against Carolina?
I mean, it sounds silly to even ask the question because Joe Mixon has so much more upside, and I will tell you Mixon against Carolina, and it would just make sense for the Bengals to kind of go back to trying to be more balanced offensively and try and run the football as best as they can. I don't know how much confidence they have in running the football because they should have done that on Monday against the Browns, and they couldn't do it. It was weird why they wouldn't take advantage of that matchup. I think Kenyon Drake's going to have an interesting game. It's a tough matchup against New Orleans. I actually think that Saints defense is better than they looked a couple of games ago. But he's getting a good opportunity. But Mixon gets that type of opportunity pretty much every week. And if catches count, forget about it. You know that Mixon is going to be involved in the passing game, will get good numbers there. I just think that he's an easy start over Drake. But Drake is worth taking a look at. Double check to see if he's on the waiver wire, still out there. I have it right in front of me. It's right around a third of CBS Sports leagues where he's out there, 37%. So if you can't get your hands on Deion Jackson, maybe Drake is someone who you can find and can use this week.
Another guy who's become popular, getting back to tight ends here for a minute, Dave, Greg Dulcich. Is that how you say his name?
Yes, that's how you say it.
So I'm in a scenario, and I think other fans might be in this scenario as well, where I have Mark Andrews, right? And I've lost Jamar Chase. And not that he's great, but I've lost Zeke Elliott in the last 2 weeks, and I was pretty thin at running back to begin with. I'm thinking about trading Mark Andrews to upgrade at running back, trusting that Dulcich can at least be adequate. Does that make sense? In the right deal?
Well, what you're really doing is you're hoping that Dulcich is better than a streaming tight end.
Right, yes,
and by that, I mean that he continues to put up some good yardage and find the end zone and all the stuff that you look for from somebody like Mark Andrews, but you're getting it at a discounted price, or at least a guy who you haven't heard of necessarily, fantasy managers haven't heard of, like Greg Dulcich. I'll tell you what, I thought the Broncos offense looked dead until they got Dulcich involved. And then the second half last week, you really saw it come into play. One obstacle that you'll have is that Dulcich is on bye this week. So you can't use him unless you're going to take a zero at tight end, which is loser's mentality. I don't want that at all.
Never.
You'd have to stream somebody like Tyler Conklin or maybe even Isaiah Likely as a replacement because Dulcich isn't going to play if you make this trade. The other thing that I would think about is, are you going to sell low on Mr. Andrews?
That's
because
true.
he's
Fair point.
not at 100%,
Yeah.
coming off of a bad game. No, if you try and do it today, the first thing that another fantasy manager is going to say to you is, well, we don't even know if he's healthy. I'm not going to give you a good running back for him.
Fair point.
So you need to make sure that you get a really good running back, probably a second-tier type of running back, in exchange for Mark Andrews, because Andrews is one of those guys, man, when it comes to fantasy football, he puts up numbers most weeks like a wide receiver, and you're getting that at the tight end spot. It's a huge advantage for your team.
Dave, if you're streaming quarterbacks this week, give me some off-the-radar guys maybe.
I don't know if I can give you I'll give you some off-the-radar guys, but the guy who's on the radar is Justin Fields, who's given you at least 25 fantasy points in each of his past 2 games and at least 18 fantasy points in each of his past 4. He's basically doubled his rushing production over the last 4 games, and he's throwing the ball just a little bit more. It's like 5-6 more pass attempts per game, but he's doing a much better job completing the passes. They're adding Chase Claypool to the mix. I think that'll help Fields more so than it'll do anything for Chase Claypool in fantasy. But I think he's a reliable top 10 fantasy quarterback this week against the Dolphins. The one thing he has to be able to do is navigate around the blitz. And what we've seen over the last 4 weeks from Justin Fields is that when he's pressured in the pocket, he takes off. and that's good rushing production. The other thing we've seen from Fields, by the way, and this is over the past 2 games, when they're close to the goal line, he's taking it in himself. He's running for touchdowns. And so if you're getting 12 points just from him getting 60 yards on the ground and a touchdown, he doesn't have to do that much more as a passer to be a usable fantasy quarterback. It just so happens that he's done pretty well as a passer over the last 2 weeks. And once you look in this Dolphins secondary, they've done a nice job scheming against wide receivers, but there will be opportunities downfield for the Bears to make plays, and that'll help Justin Fields. Now, you wanted me to dig deep a little bit at quarterback. I got 2 names for you. Yeah. Number 1 is Taylor Heineke, who came through for fantasy managers last week. Should get you around 20 fantasy points this week. And the other name is P.J. Walker, who's given a minimum of 18 fantasy points and a maximum of 19 fantasy points over his last 2 games. He's taking on the Bengals this week, and the Bengals defense is all bruised and battered, as you guys know, after the Browns took him down on Monday night.
Really quick, Chase Claypool is a start. Would you start him? He's on my bench right now, or do you want to go look for somebody like Pierce from the Colts?
If it's down to those 2, depending on how the reports shake out for Claypool, I might try him over Pierce, just because I think that Colts offense is really going to try and get conservative and try and protect Sam Ehlinger from making mistakes throwing the football. And Pierce is okay. I think you're looking for a receiver that can get you 10 PPR points if you're down to those 2. Claypool at least has done that. It was in a different offense and with a different quarterback, but he's done that at many points already this year.
Wide receivers, top wide receivers on the board in terms of the waiver wire this week, Dave.
I think the first name that you can go after is Josh Palmer in Los Angeles. He's coming off of a concussion, but also off of a bye week. He practiced on Monday. He should be cleared and good to go. And because we know there's no Mike Williams, and because the matchup is so good for the Chargers against the Falcons, I think he's almost a must-start fantasy wide receiver, a number 2 type of wideout. You can flex him if you want, but he was out there as of yesterday in 70% of CBS Sports leagues. I mentioned Dobbs. Claypool is worth adding, just not necessarily starting this week. And what about Rondale Moore, who 2 games ago played on the outside a lot for Arizona, really delivered a dud. And then last week, he played in the slot a little bit more, got some more targets and catches, made a nice play after the catch, broke some tackles along the way. He's got some opportunities in a PPR league to be good for around 13 or 14 points, and he's out there in a little less than half of CBS Sports leagues.
Dave, last thing from me, and then one quick fan question. Nyheim Hines, you mentioned he got traded. Chase Edmonds also got traded. What do you think of the fantasy value of those guys on their new teams?
Edmonds is a no-go for me. In fact, I'm really not a fan of any of the Broncos running backs until something shakes out there. On the day they traded for Chase Edmonds, they said Melvin Gordon's the starter, and it's been Latavius Murray who's been the most productive fantasy running back since they acquired Murray 3 games ago. As for Nyheim Hines, I think the Bills have an idea in mind of using him as their passing downs back, their hurry-up offense back. You know, pretty much anytime Josh Allen wants to throw it around, Nyheim Hines makes sense to be in the backfield, and he's a better pass catcher than Devin Singletary, and he's more NFL ready. Obviously, he's been in the NFL for years, so NFL ready, not the right term, but he's got more experience than James Cook, and that's the rookie who they drafted. I think it's terrible for James Cook, and he's not going to be a factor. It hurts Devin Singletary, kind of pushes him into that flex range. And I think Nyheim Hines in PPR could be good for around 10 points a week. Would love to have him on my bench, if not used as a spot start, once he gets acclimated to what Buffalo is doing.
I have one league where I just cut him last week. I'm so ticked that I could use him.
We got one question.
Who'd you cut him for?
Who'd I cut him for? I don't even remember at this point. I don't remember off the top of my head.
That's bad.
That sucks.
We got one question from the internet here. Dave, just a reminder, if you're not a subscriber, make sure you subscribe. You can join and become a member. The button to join is right by the subscribe button on our homepage. This is from Joe Roscos. He says, what defense am I playing on the off week for San Francisco?
Go look for the Seahawks. I like the way that their defense has been playing over the past few weeks. They're taking on Arizona. Cardinals have allowed at least 11 fantasy points to 2 of the past 3 defenses they faced. Seattle scored at least 9 fantasy points in every game this year, except for one. That was that high-scoring shootout at New Orleans. And the last time these 2 teams got together, very few points scored. Good defensive performance for Seattle. I would look their way first.
Great stuff, Dave, as always. Everybody check out DaveCBSSports.com. Unlike a lot in the fantasy community, Dave actually knows football much better than most of the other guys do in fantasy. He gives you this great analysis here in just a little bit, and he does even better job. He does all the streaming videos. He's got his trade chart. You do excellent. You're the best, Dave. I appreciate it as always. Thanks, man.
I love it when you say that because there have been times where I've been a little off on my advice and you're like, what are you thinking? What are you doing? This isn't right. And, I hear it from you.
Wait,
so it's nice to hear the positives.
What's your Twitter handle?
At Dave Richard.
At Dave Richard. All one word. No underscores, no S's.
He's great. Everybody gets it wrong. I mean, you can't get it right all the time. So, what are you going to do? Thanks, Dave.
You got it, guys. Good luck in your leagues this week.
There you go. Dave Richard, CBS. Good to chat with him. Tyvis, it's time for your final take.
Yeah, I got to wait.
You got to wait. Got to wait for it.
Be brief.
Yeah.
All right, yesterday morning really messed me up because I seen the rapper Takeoff get killed, and it really ticked me off a little bit because they got into an argument, and one thing led to another, and Takeoff is one of those guys who's pretty quiet. Out of all the Migos, he's the one that's kind of don't make the most noise. He the quiet guy. Actually, it was Quavo who got into the situation, and then a guy just pulls a gun out and starts shooting. And my problem with it is that why is guns the number one thing that people run to? If you got a situation, you can handle it like a man and just throw hands like that. Everybody can go home to their families. But he was an innocent bystander who got struck by a gun yesterday. And it really ruffles my feathers because I don't understand why people my age and younger always thinks that guns is the way. Like, that's just all y'all want to do is go out there and be strapped up and be tooled up and feel like that's what you need to be safe in life. And that's sad at a society that we got to this. It's something that needs to be cleaned up. Guns is not the answer. I understand it from, being at home, being protective, you protecting your home. But when you out here, like, it's to the point now where nobody can have fun anymore. All these school shootings and people going to grocery stores, it's to the point where you can't do anything in life. There's no way, you're not safe anywhere. It's taking all the fun out of the world. So y'all got to put them guns down and just handle it a different way.
I always say, what's the common denominator?
Sad but true.
I'm gonna go a little lighter. I talked about Takeoff yesterday, and I was sad, just like Tyvis was. But I'm gonna get to this, man. I like the fact that I haven't heard any issues with kids and trick or treating. Right. I made a comment yesterday. I said, when I was coming up, it got so bad where the school would just sponsor it and they would just go, decorate the gym. You pay like $5. The community would pay the $5. And that means every kid can go to the school. Everything is straight. You just go in, do your thing and get the candy, come out, they dress up and everything. But, I look at all the different things that we weren't able to do that we can't do today that you used to do back in the day. I hear my mom and dad talk about it, how, they used to actually walk from school. They used to go home for lunch, right? And you never heard any issues, bro. You never heard any people getting kidnapped or abducted. So I was encouraged the fact that I haven't heard anything about any, any kids, any issues with trick-or-treating. And those are the type of things that, you, believe it or not, add to society. They really help kids be get comfortable with dealing with people face to face, right? So some of those things are very important, and those are the times you look back on and say, man, those were great times. I love doing overnighters, or I love trick-or-treating and different things like that. I just hopefully we can continue these trends where we don't have to have our kids wrapped up in the house and you can actually show them a good time. So, salute to everybody else here that gave candy, and salute to all the parents that, took their kids or neighbors door to door and had a good time.
Well said. G, the other day you talked about Deion Sanders and historically black universities. And I was listening actually to the Dan Patrick show. And I like Dan Patrick, but I never really listened to his show. But for whatever reason, I had it on yesterday. And they were talking about whether or not Deion would go to Auburn. And I know ultimately probably Deion's going to end up at a big university, but I was thinking about this because Dan Patrick, who I'm sure is very wealthy, and he was saying almost like it was ludicrous, the idea that he would just stay at Jackson State. And I thought to myself, I said, why is that crazy? Deion Sanders, I'm assuming if he's taking care of his money, he's extremely wealthy. So I assume that's the case. Deion Sanders doesn't need the money from Auburn. I know he's going to make a lot more money if he went to Auburn or a big university. We all understand that. And ultimately, I wouldn't, crush him if he did leave. I get it. It's not my money. I don't need to count his money. But the positive that Deion Sanders has created at Jackson State without even being in that area, I can't even imagine like the way he has uplifted that school and all really of the schools in that conference. And if other former players chose to go down the same road that Deion Sanders has and actually stayed there, not all these big universities now were always good. Why can't Deion Sanders, instead of going to Auburn, why can't he stay at Jackson State? And eventually the school becomes so good that they could put more money into their facilities, and he can make that a big program. Yeah, it can't happen overnight. It would take time. Listen, I'm not killing Deion Sanders if he leaves. I get it. He doesn't need to. He doesn't owe more than anybody else does. But he's doing such great things. I would hate to see him leave. I really hope he stays there for a long time. And instead of him having to go to a big university, he turns Jackson State into a big football program, and thus others follow in that conference. I think that's good for everybody.
Well, I want to see him stay. He's been.
Yeah, I hope he does.
I think he has impact. Major impact.
Listen, he had one kid flip from D1.
I know. Well, he's got a number
He
of
had the
kids that
number
could have
one
been big-time
overall
prospects.
recruit.
Yeah.
Go to an HBCU.
No doubt. Hey, today's the first day we're doing bonus content.
About 5 minutes.
So if you
Give or take 5
if you're
minutes.
one of our coach tier members, we got bonus content. Is that going to be live, the bonus content?
Yeah, live.
So, okay, I didn't realize it was going to be
about
live.
5 minutes.
Live bonus content coming up. It's like Bill Maher does his overtime. If you go to Stream HBO. Well, we're doing our overtime. And the coach, if you're in the coaches tier and you're a member, bonus content coming up. What'd you say, 5 minutes?
About 5 minutes.
About 5 minutes. For the rest of you, we'll see you tomorrow right here on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.
Peace. Yeah. We hit him with